we're calling it evening at 6 o'clock. I think that's fair. Welcome to this regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Thank you so much for being here. If you do have an electronic device, if you could take a quick look at it and make sure it's on silent, that would be fantastic as we try to get through the work of the people here this evening. We'll start tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance, but before we get to that, we'll have an invocation from Dr. Wade Humphreys, pastor for First Baptist Church. Mr. Humphreys, thank you for being here.
Let's pray. Father in heaven, we are so grateful for all the ways that you bless us. We recognize that we live in the context of freedom. We thank you that we get to live in a free land in such a great community. We recognize that there are many who protect our freedom, who are serving for the cause of freedom. Lord, in this community and all over the world, I pray your special blessings and protection over our military, over leadership, that you would strengthen them and keep them safe and watch over them. And we thank you, Lord, for this community in which we live. We thank you for businesses, and we thank you for places of worship and organizations and schools and all that goes into making this community a wonderful place to live. And we pray your hand of blessing would rest upon us. We pray your hand of blessing would rest upon this gathering tonight. We pray that you would draw near with strength and with wisdom. We're grateful for our elected officials. We are grateful for the employees who serve this community so well. And I pray that all that is said and done will help us to move forward for good. And we'll thank you for that grace. It's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Oh, the colors. Whoops. Hey, let's stand and do the pledge again one more time.
Repetition, eighth.
Yeah. I didn't think we did it well enough last time.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Much better. Yeah, let's do that. While we have these fine gentlemen here with us, we have a presentation to make. It is Native American Indian Heritage Week, and the City of Fort Walton Beach proudly recognizes the Native American people who have thrived on the Emerald Coast and contributed to life in Northwest Florida for centuries. We recognize the newly renovated Heritage Park and Cultural Center, which houses archaeological collections that celebrate this history. We commend the modern Native American people who continue to play a critical role in economic, cultural, and social in every sphere of the City of Fort Walton Beach today. Now, as the heart of downtown Fort Walton Beach will once again come alive with Native American people celebrating and sharing their music, art, and culture at the Musical Echoes Native American Flute Festival, I do hereby proclaim the week of April 20th through the 26th, 2026 as Native American Indian Heritage Week in the City of Fort Walton Beach, and urge all citizens to observe this time with the appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. I especially urge all citizens to enjoy the festivities of the Musical Echoes Native American Flute Festival at the Fort Walton Beach Landing beginning Friday, April 24th through Sunday, April 26th. We'd also like to take a quick moment to remember David Baxter, the co-founder of Musical Echoes and owner of One Feather Native American store in downtown. Mr. Baxter was a beloved part of the community and leaves behind a legacy woven with music and tradition. He'll be deeply missed by all who have the privilege to know him. He graced us many times in this room with his wonderful flute playing Please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. I'm going to recognize that sneeze as Mr. Baxter, saying he missed us and wanted to be here today. Do we have a flute? Oh, that would be fantastic. Let's get some good fluting in here. Let's do it. Forward. Park. Where's Miss Mann? Is that you? Will you take this and then stand up here and take a picture with us? We're all going to scoot together and have a nice photo opportunity with you and your great festival. Thank you for what you do for our community.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. You got it. And one more time, in case anybody missed it earlier, that trip kicks off on Friday the 24th, so not this coming Friday, but the one after that. All right, one more quick proclamation here. The City of Fort Walton Beach proudly recognizes the Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center for its leading role in providing support to children in crisis. Recognizing that the world's future prosperity depends on the next generations, it's imperative to foster a healthy environment for children to grow in. Identifying that child abuse and neglect are serious crimes that endanger this healthy growth, it's important to implement solutions that promote prevention and awareness alongside families and community partners. Recognizing ECCAC for their efforts to advocate for children in times of emergency, as one of these vital community partners, they embody the spirit of child abuse prevention. Therefore, I do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention Month, and I urge all citizens to engage in activities that strengthen families and communities to provide an optimal environment for the development of healthy and happy children. And I think we do have Ms. Solange or Ms. Sarah here. Come on up front and take a picture with us. Stand so they're all. Thank you, ma'am. All right, sorry we got a little out of order there, council. If we can get approval of the agenda tonight.
So moved.
I have a motion made by 3 councilmen and seconded by at least 1 to approve tonight's agenda. Any additional comments, council? Seeing none, please vote. And it does pass unanimously, which brings us to recognitions, and specifically City of Fort Walton Beach employee recognitions with our city manager, Mr. Jason Davis.
All right, first up, 15 years of service, the famous Daniel Payne.
All right.
It's a sign.
Who put that garbage can there?
Smooth as ever. Next up, Curtis Coleman, 10 years in the Sewers Collection Foreman, Public Works.
Careful with the coin.
Unable to make it tonight, Eric Boucher, 10 years with the Police Sergeant, Police Department. Next up, Edgar Fountain, 5 years as a heavy equipment operator with our Public Works Department.
Thanks.
Finally, Miss Jessica Edwards, crime analyst, 5 years with the Police Department.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, Chief Beige, I believe you have Officer of the Quarter and some recognitions as well, sir.
Yes, I do. I try not to drop them in the trash can.
That'd be great. We go 1 for 2.
So Jessie Edwards, who got the 5-year award, when we hired her, I asked her what her job was, and she told me an industrial engineer, and I asked what an industrial engineer does. And she says they make things better, and she truly has made the police department better, so thank you, Jessie. And I got the officer of the quarter is Jennifer Williams. So Jennifer, if you could come up here. So Jennifer Williams is a newer officer for us here in Fort Walton Beach, but did how many years in Santa Rosa?
15 and a half.
So she did 15 and a half years in Santa Rosa Sheriff's Office, and now is with us for probably, what, over a year? And she went to a check on the welfare call where there was an elderly individual that wasn't responding, needed some assistance. She followed up with him several times, and there was a day when she was off, something just told her that she should probably go by the house and check on the guy. So on her day off, she went by and checked on the individual. There was no answer at the door, so we actually then did an official check on the welfare and realized that he was in need of assistance. And if she did not go by that day at that time, he probably would have passed away and not been with us today. So we'd like to commend her for that extra effort that she puts into the city of Fort Walton Beach and really shows what the local police department does for our community. So thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Chief. Council, that brings us to the consent agenda tonight. Yes, sir.
Pull out the lease amendment with Verizon just for discussion.
So you-
3A, 7.3.
So your motion is?
My motion is to remove it from the consent agenda and place it immediately thereafter.
So approve
Or
it.
wherever the mayor so
So your
chooses.
motion is to approve the consent agenda minus item 7.3 and place it directly after?
Yes.
Do we have a second to that? Motion made by Councilman Walker, seconded by Councilwoman DeBerry to approve tonight's consent agenda minus item 7.3, which we will discuss at the conclusion of this vote. Any additional comments? Council, please vote. The motion does pass unanimously. Councilman Walker, your concerns with the third
Not necessarily concerns, just questions that may lead to concerns, but reading the intro to it and then looking, I have some familiarity with commercial lease renewals, and I know that everybody's got different paragraphs and whatnot, but I'm lost, I guess, and maybe Jeff or Jason, you can explain it looks like we were under contract with them till 2037, and then we've gone out to 67, but the first lease was for $26,000 and some change. Then it looks like somewhere along the way, either initially or somewhere afterwards, there was a $15,000 proposed payment. Maybe that's right now, in reducing the rent to $22,000, but oftentimes in lease negotiations that I've participated in, when we have 3 5-year renewals or 6 5-year, whatever it turns out to be, there's an established escalator, and it looks like the escalator was mentioned in here between 5% and maybe 8%. And now we've gone down, there's a cash payment, and there's a 2% escalator prior to the expiration of the originally agreed upon termination through 37 and then even to 67. So help me understand what's actually going on here, I guess.
All true statements. So in the weekly reports I send you guys, I've mentioned this is not the only one. We've had a few tower companies reach out and say, hey, we're probably going to get out of this business because we can't afford this now. The business has changed, so we'll work with you on some pricing if you want to keep it. Otherwise, we're going to punt and go somewhere else. So there is an out clause that they could have exercised. So working with the finance team, clerk's office as well, so we went through several iterations. This was the result that came back with the best return for the city, the $15,000 payment up front. They offered several different flavors. One of them was just a complete buyout for 160 grand or something like that, I don't remember. That being said, it didn't work with us long term in the sense that we can't spend the money now anyway. It goes into special accounts, so we would be able to spend it till the end of the contract that was originally drafted. So this was an effort to keep us some revenue coming in rather than zero.
Great, thank you, that explains a lot. How about the profit sharing they mentioned in here? Is that going away? Is it still a part of it? And
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, none of that changed.
so the profit sharing is still a part of it through sublease. Do they have any subleases on it?
Yeah, I don't know how many, but
Just out of curiosity then, do we know between the lease payment and profit sharing with subleases, do we have a total of revenue from this lease?
oh, I'm sure we can track that down. I didn't ask. I was just trying to keep the revenue coming into some capacity rather than zero, but I can track that down for you.
Gotcha.
Do you want me to address the escalator?
Yeah, I would love to hear more about it because something's missing there,
It was
Jay.
8% every 5 years.
Right,
This is 2% every year.
gotcha.
That was a change that they proposed.
They proposed. It's just, I know that in negotiations, oftentimes there's a full understanding of all the revenue and expenses and the threat of leaving and we're going to lose it all. So I would hope that total number is known. Ms. Barnes, do you know what it is, that total number from the subleases plus the lease amount? That's a big number. It should be.
I had it all a month ago, right?
I got you.
So I don't have it now in front of me. This was just, it took us this long to get that hurdle and get it on the agenda. 2 weeks notice, right? But I can track all that down for you.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you.
Anyone else with questions on this item? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this? Council, you wish to take any action tonight? Councilman Walker specifically?
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve staff recommendation lease renewal. And
Gotcha. Motion made by Councilman Walker, seconded by Councilwoman Riley to approve the lease agreement and its third amendment rights. Any additional comments? Council, please vote. It does pass unanimously. That brings us to mayor and council comments. Councilman Schmidt is absent. We'll start with Councilman Walker.
I'll save mine till the end. Thank you.
You got it. Councilman Browning.
Save one for the end, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Ms. DeBerry.
Yes, I would like to commend the police department, the fire department, the EMS, and all the above. I called a few days ago about a dear friend of mine that I've been concerned about, and went to her house, and it was locked, and I knew I had a feeling she was there. Anyway, she had fallen and couldn't get up. And so I called, like we were discussing, rather than 911 or whatever, I called the police department directly because I had that number memorized. And I said, this is not an emergency. I just have a friend and I can't get in her house and she's fallen and can't get up. Well, the police were there right away. Next I saw the fire department, the ambulance. So, and I heard them say, you know, calling, rather than me just having the police come out there to help, I heard the person, help me with the word, that answered the phone, call the whole, what is it, 911?
Dispatch.
Is it?
The dispatcher, yes.
Yeah, and that's not what I wanted. You know, we were discussing, I just needed someone to help me get in the door. Well, now I know, we have the family put in the door thing that I have the code to now, and the neighbor, you know, and all that. But thank you, thank you, thank you. She's doing well. She does have issues, but we're going to see the doctor. But I just wanted to say thank you, thank you, thank you. But we didn't need, I was trying to do what we were discussing, just call straight to the fire department, straight to the police department, rather than going through all that. But thank you.
Well, I think you did great, Mr. Berry. Councilman Jeter.
Yes, sir. There was a golf tournament over the weekend out at Shalimar that the TDD funds and brings in a lot of people from all over the country. And from New York to California to, I walked a hole one day with a guy from Gainesville, didn't play and it was out there watching some others, but it's a nationwide tournament. And walked with people from New York and a gentleman from Gainesville, and a lot of times we're in here, we're so close to maybe all the negatives, sometimes we get caught up in it, but both of these guys went on for 20-30 minutes about how awesome Fort Walton Beach is. A small beach town. They ate at a restaurant downtown, they went here, they did that. So they had no clue that I was on council, they had no clue that I am not any good at golf. It didn't matter, we were just talking and they were telling us they're not from here, but they were staying at a hotel in Fort Walton Beach, and downtown Fort Walton Beach is awesome, and they will be coming back, and it was just cool to hear from someone who's never been here before and doesn't see all the things that we see, and we think that's bad, and this is no good. People come here from the outside, and they go, this place is awesome. So it's just a cool, I got more for later, but it was just a cool, made us feel good. We've done some good things up here over the years. They like our town.
Agreed. Councilman Merrill.
I am going to say my thing.
Got it. Councilwoman Riley.
I'm going to speak very quickly, but I just want to tell you, Councilman Jeter, that I think we have a wonderful city as well. So thank you for recognizing that. I have two things really quickly. I want to thank the mayor in the city of Fort Walton Beach for agreeing on the proclamation for the Native Americans. And I specifically say that because of the fact that I have, two Native American grandchildren, and it's amazing when the culture is recognized. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much. In addition to that, I also want to thank the mayor again. He's getting all kind of accolades tonight for the second proclamation for Emerald Coast Children Advocacy Center, which is near and dear to my heart and one of my employers. And most of my works are done working with the children and families here in Okaloosa County. And so I ask that all of us, for the month of April and continuing throughout the year, that we gracefully keep all of our children, keep them at heart. And I tell people all the time, it's amazing what children have to go through. And I dearly believe that every child deserves a childhood. So I see it every day where I'm dealing with children that have gone through trauma. They have to have trauma therapy. They have been either seriously injured or sexually abused. And April is just a wonderful time to pay homage to all of the children who are not here with us today, but also the ones that are here. And just keep in our heart and our minds that children are so beautiful and they deserve a wonderful life. Thank you again.
Well said, Ms. Riley, thank you. I'll save mine for later as well. We'll move on to public comments. Anyone in the public that wishes to speak for 5 quality minutes up here at the podium, we just ask that you step up and say your name and your address, and you can speak about anything that's not on tonight's agenda. So if you're here to speak on something we were already going to talk about, save it for then. Otherwise, like Ms. Tanner is about to demonstrate, you can step on up and have your 5 minutes now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm Candace Tanner, 187 Brook Street, downtown Fort Walton Beach. And I'm here to continue with the positivity this evening. So, I'd like to start by saying I really want to thank everybody for what we're accomplishing downtown. You probably noticed that we're in a major transformation really. So it's been a combination of what we've been working on for the past 5 years, and it's really starting to show now. So thanks to everybody. But specifically, I'd like to point out Mr. Davis, what a good job he's been doing for us. Mr. Davis has been with us almost a year, I believe, and I wrote these comments down so I won't forget what I want to say about him. He is, from my experience, been extremely hands-on, responsive, and accessible. And that's made a real difference in our downtown revitalization. It's really accelerated since he's been around. Also, despite ongoing construction, our downtown has never felt cleaner or really felt safer. It's never been more clean, and it's never felt safer. And that's something that many of us would have worked for many years. Mr. Davis has been directly involved in small and also urgent issues, from fixing lights on Brook Street to addressing dumpster maintenance and water leaks. He follows through quickly, too. Mr. Davis makes himself personally available, even sharing his phone number so concerns can be addressed in real time, and that level of accessibility is rare and meaningful. In addition, the CRA input meetings he initiated have been incredibly valuable. It's our chance to be able to go and talk directly to the CRA manager. The planning director is generally there, and also Mr. Davis is generally there. And then, of course, he initiated the Coffee with the City Manager, which meets once a month, and that's open citywide as well, and so that has been tremendously helpful in communication directly with him. And so I appreciate the transparency also in how questions are answered. I might not like the answer, but I know an answer is going to be the right answer. I mean, he's going to be honest with us, and many of us feel that way. So also, I forgot to say, the efficient management of what's going on downtown, like the new parking lot seemed to be relatively painless. It just popped up one day and was working and landscaped and had lamps in it, and it's been really very, very helpful. So I want to also mention one other thing, and I'll sit down, but a thoughtful and compassionate approach to addressing individuals that are experiencing hardship. And I've seen it, and he focuses on dealing with situations compassionately, but also getting appropriate support and at the appropriate time. So thank you for that, Mr. Davis. As someone who works actively to build our downtown, I find that this impact of this leadership has shown up, and he follows through and certainly made our lives easier. Thank you. I encourage the council, the mayor, for the continuation of his contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tanner. Always great to hear. Mr. Davis, you any response here?
No, very nice. Again, just
Maybe a check?
trying to get the community and the council and the team all pulling in the same direction. So I have invited the staff to say, we've heard them and keep them, right? So you got that this past weekend, and at this coffee with the city manager, I also invited the public to come say, consider keeping them, or dude's crazy, get rid of them. So, very nice, thank you.
Yes, of course. I mean,
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Kathy Heapy with the Emerald Coast Fitness Foundation. My home address is 51 Meggs in Shalimar. I was not able to be here in February when Wendy made the presentation in my stead as a report on the nonprofit grant, but I wanted to be here now. I was in Washington State for my granddaughter's birth at that time, but I watched you guys on TV, on computer. So I just wanted to reiterate how much good we are doing with our pools at the Burning the Faye Aquatic Center and the Arc Pool near Bruner and near Silver Sands. That pool opened March 1st, and we are already teaching lessons, teaching disabled kids, teaching autistic children, and making them safer. We're also running a big program kind of for homeschooled families that are bringing their kids to us for their physical education portion of their education. We're looking forward to a big summer of lessons and summer camps coming. I think we've already discussed with Parks and Rec about hosting the City of Fort Walton Beach Parks and Rec summer camp kids at the pool at the Arc like we did last summer, which I thought went really, really well. And just wanted to, reiterate that we deeply appreciate and need the contribution and the grant from the City of Fort Walton Beach to help keep our facility operating and making improvements. We did a big renovation in December and resurfaced the pool and painted a lot of things, and it looks really, really good. I've got a new manager and he is doing a fabulous job, and people are really enjoying coming and being at the Bernie. We're also deep in the middle of middle school swimming teams, and so we've got Megs Pryor, Liza Jackson Bruner from this area, Destin, 2 teams in Crestview are all competing, and it's probably a total of about 300 or 400 kids that are competing in the sport, using our pools for practices and for competitions, and then hopefully moving on to their high school teams in the future. All of this, though, is encompassed in our mission of water safety and improving quality of life for residents and visitors, but especially our residents and our families here. So I just wanted to make that statement and remind you guys how important it is that we receive that grant money.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Jeter?
I would just like to say thank you, and I personally agree 100%. I know you and your family do a lot for the community, and a lot of it goes unseen, so thank you. I also had another question. Isn't there an Olympian swimmer
Yes,
coming?
thank you for
Okay, I was hoping you were going to
asking,
get on that,
Mr.
because I know my wife has bought tickets for our kids because someone else told her about it that we didn't know about, and I know there's...
Yes,
Tell us about it.
this year on May 16th, we're hosting our Splash of Gold fundraiser, and it's going to start out with a clinic in the morning for the swimmers, and then there will be a cocktail social in the afternoon. And our special guest is Lily King. She is a 6-time Olympic medalist, current world record holder in the 100 breaststroke, and just a wonderful personality. She's been on TV with Rowdy a few times during meets. She would go and sit in the box with him and talk about swimming. And she's, if anybody remembers from the 2016 Olympics, she's the one that did this to the Russian swimmer who was a doper, and then she beat her. So she's coming here, staying in my condo on Okaloosa Island. They're just going to be here a couple of days, but we made a very good impression on her best friend, Cody Miller, last year when he came, and he, posted on Instagram from the beach that morning. So we're really looking forward to getting another big-time swimmer here to enjoy us and put on a wonderful clinic for our kids and our friends.
That'll be out in Destin, correct?
Correct, at the Taj Renee Aquatic Center in Destin. But it benefits all of our pools.
I can't say enough about the Bernie. It used to be the old YMCA, and I've been swimming there every day, sometimes twice a day, sometimes a lot more. And not just me, but many. It's the only pool, enclosed pool in the whole area here. And I recommend, I can't say enough for it.
I know, and we appreciate you so much. And I see you, I'm in and out during the day, and I see her a lot.
Mr. Walker?
Thank you. Yes, at the last meeting, I seem to recall I might have made some comments, and I want to reiterate them again. I love athletics, what it does not only for the youth, but also seniors and challenged, whatever it is. My son has actually just started taking swim lessons there, or bought a pass to start swimming. He wants to do a triathlon, and he stopped by today and told me he did 575 meters, but not all at the same time today.
That's all right. That's all right.
So I really do cherish and appreciate what it does. I'm a member of another group, that All Sports Association, that has contributed there as well. So I love supporting that cause. But I want to clarify something. I'm a representative of taxpayers, and I looked at your tax return, your tax documents that you turned in, and saw that it's close to $1 million in revenue last year. And so I have to think about those that I represent that are struggling out there every day to make ends meet. And so as much as I appreciate and welcome your services in the community, it's hard. I don't foresee me supporting the grant request. I've been one up here before. I don't see me supporting it, taking it from taxpayers to give it to an entity that is bringing in revenue of about $1 million. So I would either encourage you to increase the rates, the fees, the sponsorships. I looked at all of those things which have continued to grow and grow and grow for you. So you're doing a great job over there. The community loves you, sponsors love you, and so that's where I believe all of them, including private organizations as All Sports, it should come from there, not from taxpayers. So I won't be supporting a grant request, but I do support your mission there. So just wanted to clarify that for you since you weren't here and anybody else who had questions.
There are many other communities where the civic government, either the county or the city, does provide pool facilities for the public. This is not one of them, and that's one reason we had to step in and form the foundation and operate the pools. And so the deal was, if you guys can say that there's a city pool, a public pool for $25,000 a year, that's a bargain. And that's what we're going to stick with.
Councilman Jeter, you had one more comment?
It is an extreme bargain, and thank you. And I look forward to supporting your grant request. And I look forward to Lily King writing an incredible article like we saw last year that the TDC can promote how awesome Fort Walton Beach and Okaloosa Island is. I know this event's in Destin, so our whole community.
Oh, yeah,
I look
absolutely.
forward to supporting it, and I look forward to hearing their positive feedback. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jeter.
Thank you, Ms. Hebe. And Ms. Wendy did a wonderful job in your stead.
She did. Yes, she did.
She was really great. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on anything that's not on the agenda tonight? Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Ken Patel. I'm a small businessman, and I heard nice things about nice departments, police department, fire department, sanitation, but I just wanted to bring up planning and zoning and building permit. They are doing a wonderful job. If it wasn't for their help, I'm trying to develop 2 projects. They helped me all the way through, and just wanted to say somebody needs to appreciate them as well.
That's all, Mr. Patel.
Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. I know Mr. Gibson's in the room as well, so he probably enjoyed that. Yes, sir. Come on up.
Jackson. He's not the only one in the department.
That is true. But he's the one that would yell at them if they did a bad job.
Hello, my name is Robert Moore. I live at 125 Rainbow Drive. I have several rentals in the area, and I'm a general contractor. I have 10 grandkids and 4 kids, and big supporter of Fort Walton Beach. Moved here from Fort Lauderdale 30 years ago, and I do love the city. However, there is a bone of contention that I have, and that is the new speed cameras. The new speed cameras were not put up for referendum for vote. It was simply voted in by the city council with no input from the city residents, and it's not fair. It's a $100 fine. The speeding is vague because it says speed limit is 15 when the light is flashing, but actually they will hand out tickets anytime, and the tickets mount up quickly. In my own little group, I have 4 tickets. Ken, the man just up here, has 1. Mike Anderson, his associate, is also a rental agent. He has 2. My 2 superintendents both have 2. So in my own little thing, there's $1,000 in fines in the last 2 weeks. The $100 fine is excessive, especially for those that can't afford it. And I don't think, also the county, Okaloosa County, banned their enforcement of speed cameras. And I also got on ChatGPT to find out what the record was. And I asked it specifically how many accidents were involved in school zones in the last year. The answer was none. So there was no precedence for putting such a dire penalty for these speed cameras. And because the schools are so close together, I have an example right here where in the same time stamp, on the same day, I got a ticket at Silver Sands and Bruner. And I also found out from talking to other people in the community and talking to City Hall itself that there was a lot of people complaining about these speed cameras. I think they need to be addressed and something needs to be done about them. It's too much Big Brother, too much over-policing in a specific area. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sir?
Sir?
Yes?
Ms. DeBerry.
Okay. Sir, I live within walking distance of 5 schools in the city. And oftentimes I sit there and I walk, not sit, but I watch and I time. I am in favor of the speed, maybe the cameras, but the speeding and all that. Maybe we need to have a police officer sit there with the lights going on too, because I have seen people, not so much whenever the kids are being unloaded or during that 15 mile an hour, but during the daytime, they're going 40, 45 and more. You know, so I am here, and there are people out there walking their dogs, and people my age out there walking and trying to cross, and so I see this, and I'm in favor of the lights, of speed cameras.
I would just add for clarification, and I know you said a couple things there, and certainly those are issues that could be debated, but the cameras are only on during the school day. So 30 minutes before school starts, 30 minutes after school shuts down. When the lights are flashing, it's the lower speed limit. You have to be traveling 11 miles per hour over the speed limit to activate the ticket. So during the day, it's lunchtime, you're running home or going to wherever, you drive through that same area, the speed limit is the normal speed limit on the road. You have to be going 11 miles an hour over that normal speed limit to get a ticket.
Yes,
so if the speed limit's 30, 42 gets you a ticket.
Okay, I'm well aware of that.
Oh, it didn't sound like it from what you previously said.
Okay. I've done extensive background, and my next move is to get a letter, in other words, to go to the city clerk, everyone that's gotten a ticket in the city, and notify them. And I think that you are wearing rose-colored glasses looking at this. This is an over-policed situation, and the citizens are not happy about it. Anyone I've talked to is not happy about it. Now, I granted that this was never put to the public vote. This was strictly voted in by the city council, okay? So that's fine, but that's not the way democracy works. So just want to let you know that a lot of people out here in the city are unhappy with the over-policing of the areas. And I know that there's speed limits everywhere in the state, and that, yeah, we would like to have speed cameras everywhere, on the turnpike, on I-95, on I-10, but there's a point that Big Brother steps in, and you have to sit back and appreciate the public.
And speaking personally, sir, I don't want speed cameras on the interstate or on state roads or on backcountry roads, but I do want them where kids go to school. So that's all I think this council voted on. And that is the absolute definition of democracy. It's a representative democracy. Council people are elected, they vote for the people. That's exactly how it works.
Okay.
Now, if you disagree with the vote, obviously there are council members who are coming up for re-election. You could run yourself if you're interested.
I understand.
But that's exactly how it works, sir.
Okay, I know how it works, but in the county, in Okaloosa County, how come they banned the same use of the same cameras?
Well, it wasn't the same use of the same cameras.
And also, it is only this city. In the whole state, there's over 50-some counties that have banned or do not use the cameras. So there's an upwelling of disagreement there about how much policing a particular area needs. Like I said, there are no incidents of accidents in school zones in this area, in Okaloosa County, for a whole year. So there was no reason to over-police or over-enforce this particular rule. Also, I broke down where the money goes, okay?
Where?
Okay, you're aware of where the city, all the money goes?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know the city gets, how much does the city actually pocket?
Not the majority.
No, it's not the majority, but it's a good percentage, it's over 30%. And the rest goes to the maintenance of the cameras, the company, and you name it, it's spread all over the place. So It's a moneymaker for the city, plain and simple.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
And sir, what was your name?
Robert Gore.
Gore,
G-O-R-E.
Mr. Gore, thank you for coming up here and expressing your concern. Look forward to continuing to hear from you. In the for what it's worth category, I don't know if you've noticed, if you're aware of the 2 recent cases that were challenged at Okaloosa County Court on the constitutionality of these issues.
Yes.
If you and your friends or your group, as you described them, if you want to avoid prosecution or having to pay it, it appears as though you can file a claim at Okaloosa County challenging the constitutionality of it, and it will be dismissed by this body.
Yes, I realize that the particular speed cameras on Racetrack Road by Pryor are not on a city road, they're on a county road, and that's where that dispute comes in.
On a state road.
Okay, the point is, I realize you all have your own opinion, and especially Gloria over here has her own opinion about safety and all the rest. I'm just saying that this is overstepping the authority of policing. That's
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I certainly appreciate your comments.
All right.
Anyone else from the public wish to speak on any item not on the agenda tonight?
All right, then we'll move on to ordinances. Ordinances on first reading specifically. Ordinance 2208, amending the land development table. Mr. Gibson.
Ordinance 2208. Mr. Burns, I'm sorry.
Ordinance to the City Council of the City of Fort Walton Beach, Florida, amending Land Development Code Table 2.03.02, permissible uses in each zoning district to update the uses allowable in the Community Facilities Zoning District and the Mixed Business and Manufacturing Zoning District, provide for authority, provide for severability, provide for an effective date. This is first reading. It's quasi-legislative, and Mr. Gibson will present on behalf of staff.
Mr.
Mayor, council members, Tim Gibson, Growth Management Director for the city. So this ordinance came about really from community facilities. So there's a lot of the community facility zoning districts are ones that are scattered throughout the city. Some of them are in our single-family residential areas, multifamily residential. They're really scattered all over the place. It's the one zoning district that doesn't really have a district. They're just spot zoned all over the place. We've been running into some issues, or I don't know issues, but concerns from developers and stuff that, you know, some of these smaller buildings and stuff that may have housed some of these small churches that have either grown out of that and moved on to another location, or they're just not in operation anymore. These buildings are out there, and there's really not a lot that can be done with those. And we've had some requests to kind of look at that. So we did decide to go ahead and just look at that, but also just go ahead and look at the entire table to see if there was anything we could change on there. Obviously, with SB 180 still in effect and everything in there, we can't make anything more restrictive, so we couldn't take something off of there, but we did find several instances of things we wanted to add on to the list in there. Specifically, there's 2 items or 2 uses that we were recommending adding on to the allowable use for the community facility zoning districts. And that's for artisan studios, and then additionally studios for personal structures such as music, dance, art, and photography. Staff felt that those types of uses would be compatible. You know, obviously these are small uses. You're not going to have major commercial activities out of those. Even so, those zoning districts that were in are surrounded by residential areas that would not have a negative impact on those. In addition, in the mixed business and manufacturing zoning district, we are recommending adding adult daycare. Child daycare is allowed in there already. We don't really have a lot of adult daycares or anything, but we just thought that since one type of daycare is allowed, we would allow the adult one in there as well. And then the final one was to allow for dry storage of watercraft in that area. This ordinance was presented to the local planning agency at the beginning of this month, and it was passed 4-1. The one objection to that was concerning that dry storage of watercraft. That individual has seen some of those being close to some residential areas. I want to stress that this is in the mixed business and manufacturing zoning district. It is a highly industrial area, and staff does not believe that that would have a negative impact on those ones. And with that, staff respectfully recommends City Council adopt ordinance number 2208, which amends the Land Development Code Table 2.03.02, permissible uses in each zoning district, updating the allowable uses in the Community Facility Zoning District and the Mixed Business and Manufacturing Zoning District.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Questions from the council for Mr. Gibson on this ordinance? Mr. Walker.
Is this the one that started out where the height restriction was left off the table? Is this?
No, sir, that's the next one.
Okay. Thank you.
This is one that's not been before this council before. It was just something that, like I said, we've had developers come in trying to, do something in these empty buildings, and, staff, from our perspective, we'd rather have something in there that's actually working rather than just these vacant buildings sitting out there.
And that watercraft storage that Mr. Wynn had mentioned his concern about, does it have to be enclosed or going to be just out on open land?
So there's supplemental standards in our land development code for that. It does have to have certain screening requirements and buffer requirements and stuff like that. There are some allocations you can do it with inside storage, but most of them are external storage and stuff. But again, with this area here being very industrialized, I'm not sure if you're not familiar, but I do have a map of where our mixed business and manufacturing zoning district is, just so you can get an idea of it. But it's a very industrial area there, a lot of metal warehouse type buildings and stuff like that. So that's where we felt it would be good for that area.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this proposed ordinance? Seeing none, council, do you wish to take any action on this ordinance?
Mayor, so move staff recommendation.
Motion made by Councilman Schmidt and seconded by Councilman Merrill to approve ordinance 2208. Any additional comments?
Yeah, thanks for, like you said, Tim, taking these buildings from not being occupied and being creative with that industry, and hopefully we'll get support tonight to keep them moving, to get those buildings filled up.
Anyone else? Council, please vote. And it does pass 6-1. Brings us to ordinance 2209, Mr. Burns.
Ordinance 2209, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Fort Walton Beach, Florida, amending Land Development Code Table 4.0201 Development Standards in Mixed-Use Zoning Districts to reestablish maximum height standards for all mixed-use zoning districts, provide for authority, provide for severability, and provide for an effective date. This is quasi-legislative, and Mr. Gibson will present on behalf of staff.
All right. So this one stems from early last year when we created the MX3 zoning district as part of the downtown master plan. When we did that, we basically duplicated all of the MX2 mixed-use high to the MX3 mixed-use high downtown zoning districts. However, when that update was made, the very last line on that table was inadvertently left off. Which basically took away the height standards that were on there. It was just basically a scrivener's error on there, but we wanted to bring this back before you just so you understood that. Right now, previously to that change, the MX1 height standards were 70 feet, with the MX2 being 120 feet. And like I said, the intent at that time was to duplicate all the MX2 over to the MX3 one, so we're recommending again the same 120 feet for the MX3 zoning district, just to keep it consistent with the MX2 one on there. And with that, staff respectfully recommends City Council adoption of ordinance number 2209 to amend Land Development Code Table 4.02.01 Development Standards in mixed-use zoning districts to reestablish maximum height standards for all mixed-use zoning districts.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Questions from the council for Mr. Gibson on ordinance 2209? Mr. Walker.
Thank you, Tim. Discussion 2.4. I see that all other standards are the same from MX2. I'm sorry, 2.3. The MX3 zoning district was established with the same development standards as MX2 to include density, floor area, lot width, impervious surface, and setback standards. Seeing all other standards are the same, staff is proposing a maximum building height of 120. I remember that discussion coming up, MX3 coming up in relation to the landmark development place there. It was all around the same time. With it all being the same, the height, the density, the floor space, and everything else, why do we need MX3?
So the long-term vision on that one is that the MX3 will be a much more dense area. The plan is to allow for a much higher density in there. At the same time, you may remember we did a comprehensive plan change that changed the max allowable density in the city to be 300 with bonus provisions in there. So what that requires, though, is us to raise the land development code. So that basically set the stage for us to later on down the road establish or change those standards in there to allow for that higher density. So the downtown master plan that was developed many years ago does call for that much higher density downtown, but with all the projects going on down there right now with the bridge replacements and eventually the Around the Mound project, we just don't feel it's time right now to go ahead and have those higher density standards allowed down there, because that could make add a lot more traffic downtown right now that we just aren't sure that we're ready for yet. So at the time, the council's guidance was to go ahead and just establish the zoning district. And in there, under that table of allowable uses, there are numerous uses that we do not allow in the MX3 zoning district that we do allow in the MX2 zoning district. For example, some things like gas stations and stuff, that's not really what we're going to look for in our core downtown area, is those types of businesses and stuff. So that's where it's like just some of that right now is the difference in the MX2 and MX3. The long-term vision, though, is to have those higher densities and the higher floor area ratio allowed in that MX3 zoning district. But right now, there's no MX3 zone properties in the city either. So that's all kind of, this is just steps to get down to that point eventually.
Right, and the higher density is, I remember it back then too, because I wasn't sure and still not sure about the Around the Mound traffic improvement, and without that, I think there was some acquiescence, just settling, I guess you could say, of just let's just get the MX3 for later. And I still have the same concerns that, you rightfully said that the goal is to increase density, and so, with Around the Mound, if and when it comes, the density of that, and I think I did the math on Landmark Center back then, and it was bringing the unit's size down to the 200 square foot. It's a hotel room size. So in my mind, it's, while we might not want gas stations because it was not allowed today, essentially, and even back then when we voted on it, we are approving hotels downtown using a density of hotel standards as opposed to a condo lifestyle, which, is larger than that. I think it was 400 or 500 square feet was the Landmark Center early discussions. I know there's no formal plans on it or anything, but I still have a personal preference, that there not be hotels dominating our downtown district. And I know some others may want that. I'm not one of them. So anyway.
There are different, so the density only applies to residential units. The floor area ratio is what applies to certain things like hotels, other businesses, commercial activities and stuff in there. So that was one of the big reasons we didn't change it on the density or the floor area ratio in there. One of the reasons on there is the Live Local Act, which we've not had any Live Local Act developments in the city yet. But one of the provisions in Florida law for that one is that they can develop at the highest density that's allowed within the city. So that's one of the reasons we kept everything as the same, just because we didn't think we were ready for it. But had we just gone ahead and established those higher density, even though we didn't have any properties zoned that, it would have opened that door for the Live Local Act to be at that higher density that we just weren't ready for yet.
And when you say we're not ready for yet, what would be a sign that we are ready?
Really, it's just waiting on the Around the Mound and everything else, and then ultimately it's going to come back to this board or through the local planning agency, and then back to the city council for their approval on when we're ready to move forward on this one. So ultimately, right now, this is just setting the stage for us to be able to do this down the road. Right now, this is just simply, fixing that missing line on there. This isn't proposing to change anything or allow anything extra beyond what's allowed right now today.
I'm guessing back then in that discussion I was probably opposed, and I think I will remain today. I know it's a height restriction that got left off, but I think I'll stay on that one. Thank you.
Anyone else with some questions on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this? Council, do you wish to make a motion?
Mayor, so moved. Staff's recommendation.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Schmidt, seconded by Councilwoman DeBerry to approve ordinance 2209. Any additional comments?
A lot of planning is necessary. A lot of big projects coming up in that vision, so thank you, Tim, and your team.
Council, please vote. And it does pass 6-1. Brings us to item 11.1, fiscal year 2024-25 annual comprehensive financial report. Ms. Angela Ballint with Warren Averett is here. Ms. Ballant.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. It is certainly our pleasure to be here this afternoon to present the results of the city's September 30th, 2025 audit. Our opinion on the city's audit is unmodified. That's a clean opinion, and it is the highest level of assurance that we can provide. Do I need the clicker? I'm sorry. Okay, if you could just go to the next slide, that would be great. It is the highest level of assurance that we can provide, and it means, in our opinion, the city's financial statements fairly represent the financial position of the city in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting standards. We perform the audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards as well as governmental auditing standards, and we did not have any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in the city's system of internal control over financial reporting to bring to the attention of management or governance. Specifically as it relates to the governmental auditing standards, we have no material instances of non-compliance with laws, regulations, or grant agreements to bring to the attention of governance. So that certainly is a good report. We have had over the last 5 years some items, recommendations, findings for improvement. The city's finance staff has taken those very seriously. Those have been remediated. So just want to congratulate the finance team, and I want to thank the finance team, city management, and everyone that we interface with at the city, that we have the relationship and cooperation to appropriately discharge our audit responsibilities. I'd also like to thank Mr. Bradley over there. He's the principal, and he really does all of the heavy lifting as it relates to the audit. There was one change that the city made with respect to accounting policies in fiscal year 25. The city was required to adopt GASB 101, and that was just a change in the valuation of compensated absences. So you will see a restatement in the financial statement that was required. I'm not going to speak to this slide. You can go to the next one, but I did provide it in the packet for council because it is a basis of several slides that are presented, so I just wanted you to have the 10-year trend data. I did want to speak just a minute about the city's general fund balance over the last 10 years. So you can see that there's been a good bit of growth in the general fund balance over the last 10-year period. We were about at $12 million at the end of 2016, and you could see it's close to $28 million at the end of 2025. But I think it's important to analyze and understand the growth in that fund balance. So where we ended 2025 is non-spendable fund balance. That's just what it says. It's not spendable. It represents items like inventory and prepaid items. The restricted line item is where you really see a large growth in fund balance over that 10-year time frame, about $7.5 million at the end of 25. And the primary restriction in the general fund, that's the half-cent sales tax. So that is considered restricted because it was enabled by the voters, and there are restrictions around how it can be spent. You also, I'm sorry, could you go back? You also see the committed fund balance of $11.2 million. That commitment, the largest portion of that commitment is the city's natural disaster reserve that was adopted by ordinance. So that's over $9 million, and that certainly is very prudent considering the coastal community that we live in. Unassigned fund balance really has been earmarked in the budget process. So at the end of 25, you see the $6 million of assigned fund balance. The largest portion of that was a little over $4 million that was assigned to balance the 2026 budget. So, you know, there were expenditures in excess of revenues and other financing sources. And so about $4 million was earmarked to balance the 2026 budget. And the unassigned, the $2.5 million, is available for any allowable purpose of the city. And you can kind of see we are at the lowest point besides that 2018 time period as it relates to unassigned fund balance. So there was a lot of unassigned fund balance buildup as a result of COVID. There was a lot of dollars that came to governmental units as a result of COVID, but there's definitely been a spend down of those funds. So while the city's general fund certainly remains in good financial condition, it is prudent to monitor that unassigned fund balance, and that's probably going to be something to be thinking about in the 2027 budget process, because there's really not funds there to balance the budget like what has been done in the past few years out of unassigned fund balance. The next slide, please. Total fund balances in the city's governmental funds, so this is all of the governmental funds, was about $39.7 million. That was a decrease of about $4 million from the prior year. 37% is either non-spendable or restricted, 41% is committed, 15% is assigned, and about 7% is unassigned. The next slide, please. This is the governmental fund balances, just giving you more information on the restrictions, commitments, that type of thing. We've really talked about the general fund, the $27.8 million. You'll see that $4.2 million that I mentioned for fiscal year 26 appropriations. You see the natural disaster recovery commitment, as well as the restriction for capital facilities and equipment, which is the half-cent sales tax. Other amounts in the CRA, about $4.8 million is restricted for redevelopment projects in the district. You've got $5.2 million that's committed for perpetual care of the Beale Memorial Cemetery. And then in other governmental funds that are considered non-major, about $1.8 million is restricted for various public safety purposes. Next slide, please. This represents the months of cash and investments the city has in their governmental funds. This is a ratio that's looking at your cash and investments compared to your expenditures, stripping out capital outlay. So you can see the city had 14.4 months of cash and investments, a slight decline from 14.8 months in the previous fiscal year. Again, you can kind of see the impact of COVID, with the funds coming in, and certainly where the city was at 10.2 months back in 2016. So the city certainly compares favorably to municipalities of its size as it relates to months of cash and investments in its governmental funds. In terms of the general fund, the dark blue represents the revenues coming in, as well as other financing sources, and then the light blue represents the expenditures going out, includes other financing uses. So as I mentioned, there was about $4 million of expenditures in excess of revenues in the city's general fund in 25. It was about $1.5 million of expenditures in excess of revenues in the city's general fund in 24, and then you can see the trend for the previous 3 years as well. In terms of expenditures in the governmental funds, the largest portion of expenditures is that orange, or maybe it's more yellow, mustard yellow, but that is public safety. So in the year under audit, about $15.2 million of expenditures in the area of public safety. The other major area of spending in fiscal year 25 is the lighter yellow, and that represents capital outlay. There was about $7.7 million of capital outlay expenditures in the city's general fund during the year under audit. About $3.3 million came from general fund resources, $1.4 million was funded with TDD funds, and another $3 million was funded with the half-cent sales tax. Turning to the city's enterprise funds, this would be water and sewer, sanitation and stormwater operating profit percentages over the last 10 years. So the city's enterprise funds are definitely very healthy and in good financial condition. You'll see, if you go to the next slide, that fund balance or net position in the enterprise funds is at about $36 million at the end of the year under audit. That's about a $1.9 million increase. But the real increase is in the investment in capital assets. So the city has invested heavily in the infrastructure related to those systems to ensure that the services are there for years to come. In terms of debt, about 59% of the debt, and this is bonded debt of the city, is in its governmental activities. All that debt has been for capital purposes, and 41% is in the business type activities, and that is also for capital purposes. We did disclose in the audit the additional $7.5 million of debt that was issued after the end of the year, so you'll find that as a subsequent event. And if you go to the next slide, you can see that the city's long-term debt for capita was at its lowest amount over that 10-year trend period. And finally, last but not least, the city's pension plans, the 3 defined benefit pension plans, investments have been set aside of $125.9 million, and this slide kind of shows the allocation of the types of investments. In terms of the plans themselves, the general fund plan or general employees plan is closed. It's funded at 105%. That is definitely a theoretical assumption, but it's based on investments held, less expenditures expected to pay benefits in future years. The police plan is funded at 89% and the fire plan at 75%. So I realize that was a lot of information relatively quickly, but I certainly would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I appreciate it, Ms. Bellin. Anyone with a question on the council for Ms. Bellin? Seeing none? Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were going to go in a different room. I do have a couple. Thank you for that. That was a lot to digest, so I'll try to keep a few simple ones. Does your organization do any auditing and looking at the 3% cap of those categories, capped categories?
No, that is not part of our financial statement audit, that it's, required under generally accepted auditing standards. Now, if there is something that council or management would like us to do, that's something would probably be best done through an agreed upon procedures type engagement rather than a true audit engagement.
Gotcha. And thank you. So, and then I think my last one is going to be regarding the chart you kept up there for the longest for the Schedule 3 fund balances and the increase from, I think you referenced 12 to 28, and that's pretty close to what's here. Talk to us or the public about how that is. It's a large increase of government revenue. Is that correct?
Yes, and what I was trying to convey is the largest increases have been in the restricted category, and most of that is coming from your half-cent sales tax. So that levy, I believe, started in 2020, I can't remember. It's 2018.
You say that was did you say that was in committed? Is that the word?
Restricted.
Restricted,
It's
gotcha.
considered restricted because it was voted on by the voters. So that referendum kind of set out what it could be used for. So restricted means a third party has placed the restriction on you, the city, on how it can be used. So the buildup in the restricted really is coming from the half-cent sales tax, and that unexpended balance at the end of the fiscal year under audit is about I gotta put my glasses on now. It's so much fun getting old. 7.2 million is set aside in the half-cent sales tax. So the growth there has been in those restricted categories. In the committed, there's kind of two pieces to that. You've got your natural disaster recovery, which is set every year by ordinance at 30% of expenditures, and that's 9.6 million. And then there also is some committed funds in affordable housing of about 1.3 million. So while total fund balance has grown, the amounts that make that up are restricted and committed. The actual unassigned that can be used for any purpose is really at its lowest level since the 2018 time frame.
Thank you. So that's restricted, committed, and then the last two assigned goes from, I was looking at percentage increases, and obviously the restricted is the largest one, and you said that's the half-cent, and committed going from 6 million to almost doubling. What did you say committed is again? Is that?
Committed is the natural disaster recovery.
Okay.
So as your expenditures grow, since it's based on a percentage of expenditures, what's required to be committed under that ordinance has grown.
Thank you. And then the assigned and unassigned, looking at those increases from $1 million to $6 million. Let's start with assigned. How does that grow?
Assigned is really, it is something that's done through the budget process. So the biggest portion of that assigned fund balance at the end of fiscal year 25 is 4.2 million. And that is the balance the fiscal year 26 budget. So in theory, that 4.2 million is going to be used in the year that you're in right now, because when you did the budget, there wasn't enough revenue to cover the expenditures, and so you appropriated previous year's fund balance to basically balance the budget. That's the largest portion of that. Other pieces of that, there's $850,000 assigned for long-term debt. There's a a payoff of long-term debt in a couple years where there's a substantial cash outlay, and then some capital expenditure carryovers of about $700,000.
Great, and then the only number that, the only column that decreased over that 10-year period was unassigned. So how does that happen?
That's the amount that can be used for any allowable purpose, and what has happened over time is it's been used, you know what I mean? It's been used, and there was this buildup of that amount with the COVID monies, but that has been used. So this practice, and I won't say practice, but when you all approach the 27 budget, there's really not a lot of assigned fund balance that can be reappropriated into the next year's budget. So that's something to consider as you all enter this budget cycle. That $4.2 million that was basically assigned last year, that isn't available in in unassigned fund balance to reappropriate.
Yes, Ms. Riley.
So in the real world, unassigned funds, that's pretty much what you say, or would you not say, part of the normality to have the unassigned funds being
you definitely need unassigned
you need to have that.
Right. You need, they're what I would call your rainy day funds.
That's right.
Something breaks
there you go.
That isn't budgeted, and you need to be able to.
So it's almost like a savings, pretty much as needed. When you need it, you have it.
Right.
Yes.
The categories are an attempt to just try to say, what does the council have discretion over versus restricted? You don't have discretion. Someone else has told you how you have to spend those dollars.
Anyone else with a question? Thank you, Ms. Ballard. And thank you, Mr. Bradley. We do need a motion from the board to accept the full report here.
Mayor moves to accept the full financial audit report.
I second it.
Motion made by Councilman Schmidt, seconded by Councilwoman Riley to accept the findings of Warren Averett LLC. Any additional comments?
Yep, just Warren Averett's knowledge and background of knowing the things and how the city operates is very beneficial. So thank you for you and your team for this report, and our team as well, and Jason and Nicole, the amount of effort. We've come a long way, so thank you.
I want to thank you also, because it sounds like we're pretty healthy. We're pretty healthy.
That is a good financial condition.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yes, ma'am.
Name of my computers down.
Okay, we'll just need a show of hands. All in support. It does pass unanimously. Moves us to item 11.2. Mr. Davis, you're the star.
Oh, so I need to respond to a letter from Mr. Goodwin County. I just want to talk to council, and anybody from the public wants to speak to this, so we can formulate a response as a team. But, just kind of going through some of the comments from earlier. Yes, it's a $100 fine, right? You get 11 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour to play with. I hear comments that I just want to address. Some people tell me I need to put a police officer out there, right? Each one makes ballpark, a hit to the budget's about $200K to include uniforms, all the toys they need to perform their job, right? So for me, that's just a really irresponsible way to use a highly trained individual to babysit people, speeding. If you get a ticket from a police officer, it's going to be substantially more expensive than $100. You're going to get points on your license, insurance drop, whatever. So that's kind of just the concept there. The goal of the program was to change the behavior. I've had reports of people paying a $100 fine for doing 93 miles an hour in a school zone, which is just insane that they would want to even bring that before a magistrate to try and get it dismissed. And the comments that it's just an overreach, right? The behavior has changed based on the stats that we've discussed. But if we're going to wait till there's a squished kid, right? I think it's too late. So you're trying to be proactive here instead of cleaning up squished kids, all right? So some of the comments in that letter basically painted a picture that we did something inappropriate as a city, right? Mr. Burns invested, I don't even want to know how many hours, researching documents back to the 50s, 60s, 70s, and so on. A lot of staff time this week on this particular item alone, so I don't know if the ROI is what we think it is. You know, the money grab, if you will, is $39 to the city to support specific funds, not the end of the year employee gala. So it goes towards the school crossing guards, equipment, a number of things, right? So the other request from the county was to refund the money. Some of that money goes to the governor. I'm just going to guess that he's not going to return that money. Some of it pays for the program, which if we decide to punt on the program, there is a hit of $70-some odd thousand because we get the flock cameras for free, like ballpark there, yeah. So there's a lot of things to consider there. Some of the money goes to the school board. Again, I don't think they're going to refund that money. So just some things that to consider. But I think Mr. Walker kind of gave out the answers to the test earlier, but I mean, that's really where I'm at with it. I don't know that the ROI is where we left it, where we think it is, right? Behaviors have changed, no doubt. So I don't know if the happy medium is change it to when mamas are dropping off the babies and picking them up. Maybe we keep the program as is, don't care. We still don't know who owns this road. What was it, $4,000 to do a land title survey search of sorts?
The county and the city have agreed to jointly fund a full title search, correct?
Yes. So, again, if there was a smoking gun that we've done something horrible, we would have owned it immediately, right? But that's not the case. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I just wanted to talk with the family under the red light with citizens. Questions, thoughts, comments?
Thank you, sir. Questions, Councilman Jeter?
Very well summed up, by the way. And when this started years ago, I did not give a long debate earlier when the gentleman was in here speaking. I know we went back and forth, but we knew this was coming up on the agenda. But I was actually late to a meeting this morning because I was at two schools, and the members of those schools were telling me how grateful and thankful they were for this program because they see it changing behavior. I know Mr. Berry said earlier how much she supports it because she lives close to a school and she sees it. I live very close to a school. Kids that go to that school, I have seen people go tremendously slower. So the program was started to change behavior, to slow people down. I've seen it work. It is slowing people down. Now, the amount of time it's taken the magistrate, it's amazing how much we've talked about this over the years. And every time I speak with somebody in length, whether they're for it or against it, I just can't go back to, don't speed. If you don't speed, you won't get a ticket. I don't know how much more obvious it is to that. Now, no one likes getting a ticket, and we've heard the arguments from all the other sides, so I don't think I'll ever leave my personal feelings of don't speed. This is done for the kids to make things safer. I've seen behavior change. So all the pros, we can go on forever on why I'm for it. I do look at the other side and go, how much time is it taking us and how much is it costing us to change this behavior? Is it worth it? And now we're going to get into a back and forth and a fight with Big Brother, who I've set up here for multiple times. We look up to the county. That is our big brother. So how much time do we want to spend fighting with them and going back and forth on this? Do we just shut down that one camera that's in question right now? Have we done that right now?
Yes.
So the one question that's in camera is not operable. All the other cameras can continue to operate.
Correct.
And change people's behavior, And is that true, Chief Bache? You only get a ticket if you're going 11 miles an hour over the speed limit. Is that
100% correct?
So do we have the officers to put at all these schools to slow people down?
No.
So to me, I even go back and go, if we don't have all the officers to slow people down, and we're going to say that you can't have cameras slow them down, I'm scared to not do this program because you're basically saying, we don't have the officers to stop you from speeding, and we're not going to enforce you from speeding, so yeah, run 93 through a school zone. It's just crazy to me, you know, but the opposite is just as crazy as well, that we are under this much scrutiny for trying to do something good and make it safer for the kids. If you don't speed, you don't get a ticket, correct?
100% correct.
100%. I mean, we've done this for 3 years now, and I always feel like I'm missing something. So just like to confirm that. Don't speed, you won't get a ticket. We don't have the officers to enforce the speed limit. These are just helping us enforce the speed limit. And I could go on forever with analogies, but I've argued with some of them too. Like, I just got back from a trip from South Florida, and there's cameras that take pictures of your car when you're on a toll road. Can I go back down there and say that I couldn't switch lanes in time because I was hauling a trailer, or my wife? I mean, I can't. I just got to pay the tolls.
You do.
Dang it.
What I'm hearing is
I'll pay
more police staff.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to hear what the rest of the board is going to say. I just struggle with I struggle with where we're at with all of it in general. But I also, I guess that's my personal stance on it. My professional stance is obviously being little brother. I don't think we should poke Big Brother too much or mail back a nasty letter. Maybe there's a compromise and a meet in the middle until we get the results back on this one camera per se.
Thank you, sir. Other comments or questions, Mr. Berry?
Yeah, in the 5 schools in my zone, we have the SRO, the Sheriff Resource Officer, is that correct?
School Resource Officer.
Yeah, park their car out there with their flashing lights, and that's helped speeders also. The SRO is busy chasing kids all over the place, helping those that run from them. And helping the teachers, and they have other jobs that they have to do other than sit there and monitor the speeders. I'm retired, I can be out there too, maybe. and I've been tempted to do that. You know, I remember this one lady in front of Bruner. She got 5 tickets, within an hour, I think it was. She said, well, I kept forgetting something. But is that good? I mean, these are kids, you know, and Silver Sands are special needs children there. I mean, they have their people there, but yet at the same time, you never know. And I've seen it over Wright Elementary. They want the school zone cameras there on their little street. You know, so I said, you have to talk to the county. So, you know, where that goes. But I'm there to see it. So it's, you know, I'm all for the cameras.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Brown.
I have questions about the road. So we don't know who owns the road. It's either us or the county. That's what the debate is.
So historically, I mean, again, spending a few hours on the phone last week, I even called Michael Beatty. He said it basically was a handshake deal long before him, right? Going back to some of the documents Mr. Burns found, it appears, right, that the city has, over the last several years, basically been issuing the permits, all the right-of-way stuff, a couple going to the county, right? We've done some paving, you know, minimal. County's done some as well. So there is no definitive answer right now, even though it sounds like it should be. It looked like it was one time a state road that was kind of turned over.
I can give a little bit. So in 1967, the city turned Hollywood Boulevard over to the state. Through a contractual grant agreement, the city did retain some maintenance obligations on the right-of-ways in that agreement. And then in 1977, the state turned around and just conveyed, without mentioning those maintenance obligations, conveyed the road through a map. There's a way, I'm not sure if it's still a valid way to actually do this, but it was back then through a statutory process. They could actually transfer title to a road through a state map. They did that in 1977 for at least a portion of Hollywood Boulevard. No one can figure out, though, anything east of Wright Parkway. The county thinks it might be the city's. The city, we had no records. There's a huge gap in records on both the city and the county side. So what we've agreed to do is to order a full title policy on the entire road to first establish who actually owns the road. And kind of going in, I know I had lengthy discussions with the county attorney as well last week, and from everything they could find regarding who's paid for what over the years, they think maybe it's only in the 5 figures what the county's incurred on expenses on Hollywood Boulevard over the course of time. That's granted, that's not some official number I've seen, but that was speculation that was thrown around on their end. That's a pretty low number. I know Mr. Payne was able to figure out through an interview with, I believe, a public works director or a former employee from the 80s, that there was a time when the city was actually part of a lawsuit that required them to pay for the paving of Hollywood Boulevard, even though I think the county maybe handled the paving, the city had to pay. So there's a lot of mess. A lot of people don't really know what's going on. And so we're still figuring out who owns the road. And so that's a very confusing answer because everyone's still very confused as to it.
So who, do we predominantly maintain the road? Does the city predominantly maintain the road?
Again?
So permitting,
I mean, according to the sound
99% of permitting has been done by the city for decades. The only evidence we can find being permitting by the county were some curb cuts and driveway permits. All other permitting has been conducted from everything we can figure out by the city.
And then, but then now it's their road and they want us to refund the tickets. Who's going to maintain it if we refunded all the tickets afterwards? Is it going to continue being the city?
I think we have to figure out what the title policy ends up saying. And then I do know this, I do know that their map says it's part of their road system, and the handshake agreement that a lot of people have referred to is some sort of maintenance agreement. I think it probably had to deal with this lawsuit probably from the early 80s or it was late 70s. We're still looking into that, but where the county probably agreed to maintain the road, the city had to pay for the maintenance. And so I think that's probably the handshake we're going to figure out that was done. But ultimately, I know the county's even thrown out there, they might just give the road back to the city too, I think. So there's a lot more discussions that have to happen.
After we refund all the tickets, then it would go back to us. So that's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Schmidt.
Mr. Davis, I would alluded to earlier on, just for clarification. So if someone were to challenge it and hire an attorney, what is your position, considering the city attorney's time and effort, those kind of things, if somebody were to hire an attorney to challenge this program?
That's what I was referring to when I said Mr. Walker mentioned Councilman Walker mentioned the answers to the test, if you will. So we've had 2 people, what's the term, Mr. Burns, request a motion for dismissal or whatever.
File motions to dismiss.
That's what I said. And under that discussion, whatever, every continuance, every time I have to pay the city attorney, we're only going to net $39 if we win. So for me, it made financial sense to just say, no reason to fight that, right? So.
That's if we win, correct?
Correct.
So there's more costs that would be substantial if we did.
Well, the cost would be the same, but the net at the end would be different, right? $39.
So, thank you, that was helpful. There's so many ways to chop this up. You got the safety component, you got the staff resources component, you got the constitutional argument, and you got the judicial process. So, just to kind of give our city manager feedback as we build a consensus, I see the writing on the wall. If that's city leadership's position on if someone were to challenge it as we go through the judicial process and it's a motion to dismiss, I see the writing on the wall of what are we doing in the totality of the program in general. Not discrediting Mr. Jeter's safety concerns, not discrediting the things that Mr. Berry said about from safety, but just from the judicial process, as this program is just over a year old, and we're hearing that there's motions to dismiss in the judicial process in the county court, that looks like a play that people would have challenging it in the judicial process. Not discrediting Ms. Berry, the safety concerns or those things, but as this volume continues and judges have more and more motions to dismiss on their docket, that's not going to be good. The program then, is it even providing the accountability that you're looking for? So, as good luck, Mr. Davis, on trying to find 7, and what direction we're all headed. But just to be direct, I hope we can get out of this program as quick as possible because of that judicial process. And if that's our position on it, as well as the second thing is that staff resources that I mentioned. I value what our magistrate model is doing. And a couple years ago when it was stood up with hiring on a phenomenal Lieutenant Williams, and that team is doing amazing stuff in code enforcement and eliminating the blottedness. Putting that environment with the magistrate and attacking those code enforcement cases, the vagrancy and the blottedness. Now I know all of you have, but if you watch the magistrate meetings, that agenda is packed filled with Lieutenant Williams and Corporal Mooney, and their team is doing a phenomenal job. The customer service when Lieutenant Williams and Corporal Mooney responds back to these people challenging the magistrate process is extremely professional. You know, our magistrate is calling balls and strikes. He's doing what the statute requires. But I can only imagine, Mr. Davis mentioned the amount of time that Mr. Burns has had recently, Mr. Davis's time, but also too, not just the magistrate's time. He's going to be there no matter what, but the amount of time that our public safety is doing to prepare for the compliance of the extreme packed out agenda of the magistrate process over this program. Then now keep the end in mind, let's back into the judicial process that we just discussed. If it's challenged in our positions, the motion to dismiss it, while we're still bogging down the magistrate process with compliance and getting things together, I just don't think it's appropriate use of staff resources. That's my position today.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak or ask questions? Councilman Walker.
Yes, thank you, Jason. Thank you, Mr. Burns, for the email and attachments, the work you're doing there on the title. I think that's a great, you know, you got to know who owns it before we can kind of move forward, whatever we want. Personally, taxpayer-wise, I'd like for the county to keep the road because I'm already paying county taxes and let them pay it, and plus get rid of the camera there. So thank you for all the work that you've both done there on that. I think it's going to lead to good things. I looked back on August of 24, September of 24, November of 24, when this was all coming up, and the concerns expressed by the majority up here was safety, as it should be. We can all talk about how we might handle that safety of our children differently, and I think that the cameras, as I've expressed numerous times up here, are unconstitutional. I would like to have seen the two cases that you mentioned, Mr. Davis, that went before the county that challenged the constitutionality of it. I would have liked to have seen that matter resolved, such much in the way that the title search will resolve in finality the ownership of that road. A judge that gets the request to rule on the constitutionality of it will put finality to it as well. We won't be up here making a decision about safety or not safety or expenses or staff or any of that. A judge will make a ruling if it's constitutional or not. If it's constitutional, we can all go forward with a clear mind. It's constitutional, we can do it. If it's unconstitutional, we're going to have to go back to the drawing board. We're going to have to go back and look at flashing lights. We're going to have to look at police officers in the middle of the road. We're going to have to look at other opportunities to increase or improve, maintain safety of our school zones. So looking back over those meetings that we had, and I don't know how, as Mr. Schmidt had suggested, that we can get rid of it quickly, although there might be a way that it comes out of this body that we can get out of it quickly. But I personally want the constitutionality of it ruled on. So what I would love to see is this body allow or direct staff and or Mr. Burns to represent the city at the county on the next challenge to the constitutionality. And it's my understanding there are 3 more lined up to submit the same case before the UTC judge that will be hearing the traffic. We'll let Mr. Burns go there, represent the city, and let the defendant present the case that it is unconstitutional and let the judge rule on it. We have
two different, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think you're talking two different animals, right? The motion to dismiss was entered by them. We didn't call them and say, hey, you want to bury this, right? So those two that I spoke of earlier, they entered the motion to dismiss, and Mr. Burns and maybe Chief Page called me, I don't remember. And when we talked through the math, it just made sense. It had nothing to do about questioning constitutionality. They asked for a motion to dismiss an administrative ticket like any other cop could do on his own, right? So the constitutionality is a whole separate issue. Mr. Burns, am I ballpark there?
Well, yeah, well, I want to clarify too, even if a judge rules on 1, 2, or 3 of the cases, and even if in theory you said they were unconstitutional,
Sure.
that only applies to those cases.
Sure.
A county court judge's order in a county court case has no impact on any other case, even in front of the same judge. So the program would not go away. Just so you know, legally, it would not. Nothing would happen to the program. It'd still be here, an issue for y'all to have to decide.
And that would be the guiding principles that I would be looking for this body, and I appreciate that. And while there was a motion to dismiss, I believe it may have been a legal requirement to file the case there, but enjoined with it was the challenge to the constitutionality of it.
So whoever your 3 are, I don't know these people, right?
Sure.
If you have a means to contact them, tell them don't file the motion to dismiss.
I'm not, yeah, that's, an attorney did that. I don't know why an attorney filed that. I think it was to dismiss I'm not sure, but I know there was a challenge a legal challenge that said if you guys want to dismiss the case, they asked the judge not to dismiss it. They wanted to challenge it on the constitutionality of it. So that's my preference, so that we as a body can take measures as representatives of our constituents, as opposed to what's best for the city revenue stream and or the best for the staff's time and Mr. Burns' time and everybody else's time. If we can have a judge rule unconstitutional, he or she may rule it constitutional, then this body has that to look at on moving forward. It sounds as though there's some thoughts up here that there's a wish that this all goes away and it just stops being used here in the city of Fort Walton Beach. I want it to be stopped being used, but I want it to be stopped being used based on the constitutionality of it, not the resource, the time of staff that's involved with it. Because to be honest, I don't want to say I don't care about staff's time. I want staff's time used in protecting and preserving safety and security of our children. So I put all the staff to work if it's about protecting the children. So I don't want to back away from something because it's taking time from staff to protect our children. But I think there's a constitutional issue that needs to be addressed. As many of us know, there's a recent case out of Broward that is, you and I spoke about it, it is absolutely on this issue. And Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry if this is causing you distress, and Mr. Jeter, I'm sorry if it's causing you distress on this. This is a constitutional matter, and we as a body up here, as representatives of our constituents, really, this is one of the most important things that we do, and it's one of the greatest opportunities we may have. I saw the wincing. I saw the wincing and I'm sorry if I misread your body language there.
I mean, it's just been a long time.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, you certainly made your point. I'm not wincing because of the point that you're making or the opinion that you have.
Gotcha.
You're belaboring the point, and that's why I was wincing.
I just thought it was that, I guess I felt that it was that important.
I mean, dude, believe me, I feel what you're feeling. Like, I understand where you're coming from 100%.
Gotcha, I appreciate that.
Did anyone else want to have a first turn here before we move on to everyone else's second? Mr. Merrill.
I think the big thing we could go down the road, as you said, if a judge rules on it, doesn't necessarily go away. We're here to respond to the county. We're here to respond to the county going, hey, we want to throw it out, we want your refund. I think we would look at it and say, well, we have a legal, standpoint to say, well, we don't have to refund, we put the program in place. I think we start backtracking down that road and it gets really convoluted. So I would like to get to that point and say, let's handle the, bullet point 1. Bullet point 2, we're going to take a hard stance and say we're keeping all the cameras, we're keeping on the road you wanted on, or the county road that we're unsure of, or we're going to go, yeah, we're going to can the whole project, or some sort of compromise in between.
I think we could come to it. My kids are homeschooled. I might feel different if they were walking to school. I like to think of that. If we are considering this in the highest regard of safety, I think when the yellow lights are flashing, we could all agree like that's probably a pretty good time to make sure that they're active. If there's a compromise with the county, if there's a compromise with the citizens, then let's move towards that while we don't have, well, actually the only constitutional backing that we have is that they are constitutional at this point. According to Chief Bay, she's reported on that before. So until that comes through, what's our response to this letter? And it would be my opinion to have some sort of reaction. The camera shut down until we figure out the clarity on Hollywood Boulevard. Fine. Let's figure out that clarity. We're not refunding the people that it's been issued to, and maybe we can come to some sort of reasonable time frame that eases off a little bit, shows that we're willing to work, but we don't give up the program that's been proven to work so far. That would be my opinion on it, but it's up to the second.
And Mr. Mayor, just because to build on that, you brought up an issue I didn't bring up earlier when I was kind of walking out through the title confusion. As part of our discussions last Friday between myself and the county attorney, I did point out to her that the city does have statutory authority to issue the permits, and they indicated they had not found anything to contradict that authority that the city has. So the city, even if this ownership issue gets decided against the city on the road on any of those cameras, the city has statutory authority to initially procure those permits. Now, whether or not that authority extends past the March 23rd or 24th date, whenever that resolution was entered by the county, that's another question, but that's also why I advised, at least while we work through this issue, that they turn the two cameras off while we figure it out, that issue. So the issue of refunding prior to March 24th would be a big solid no. You're not legally required to.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else that hasn't spoke yet? Mr. Brady, you spoke.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. There's two schools on the high school and Edwards Elementary on Hollywood. You shut the cameras down over there. The people that are in my neighborhood, or the other three schools, they're saying, we want the cameras there. We want safety of our children. So I'm begging you to allow us to keep the three cameras in the other three school zones. And I pray the county or whoever it is that we are able to get the cameras back on Hollywood Boulevard. And I'm speaking for the people. That's not just me. I don't have children in the schools. Mine are, my grandchildren are all gone too. But I'm talking for the people that have their babies. And I'm walking that area. And if I have to, I'll bring my doggone American flag and stop sign here too. But that's where I stand.
Thank you, ma'am. I think Councilman Schmidt, you had your hand raised earlier.
Yeah, I mean, in the spirit of this conversation, I don't support using the city attorney's time and other staff resources' time to determine the constitutionality of it if it still falls back on this board to make a decision. If this board wants to get out of the program, no matter what, we have to make a decision. So, yeah, I'd like to throw a motion out there so we can take some action to give our CEO some clarity.
You're welcome to.
And then we can have some more conversation. So moved that we wait until the duly funded county and city title search due process is returned before we take any action on paying back any folks that violated the speed program on that one camera that's under question. And at our April 28th meeting, we decide whether or not we want to start the process of repealing, when we revisit the ordinance, starting the process of whether or not we want to get out of the program.
Just for clarification, you actually had two distinct items in there, and
Okay.
I think you'd already placed that second item on the April 28th agenda previously.
That's it.
So is your motion just the first item?
Well, I was trying to put together different pieces of the board members, Mr. Burns. I heard Mr. Merrill, talking about, the program itself, or Ms. DeBerry, the program itself. Yes, we have that, I believe, on the agenda, but the letter from the county is response to the paying it back. Right now, we don't know through the title search. My understanding is you gave us information that the county and the city is funding a title search process. Is that correct?
Correct.
We get that information back, and then we'll discuss whether or not we're paying it back. And then to bring clarity to the board, we need to give our staff and our team clarity on all the reasons that we set up here, whether it's safety, whether it's constitutional, whether the judicial processes, if the city is going to dismiss it anyways. We need to give some clarity and bring it up in that April 28th meeting to decide which direction to go.
So as a thought, if we do it tonight, we might have less than a 6-hour meeting on the 28th.
So, I mean, what is ultimately the motion? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because I know he jumped in.
Yeah, there is a lot of jumping in.
I recall he said he wants to wait until the title report comes back to formulate an official response on how to handle that particular camera west of Rec Parkway, but then also visit the entire issue of the cameras on the 28th as well. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I asked for the point of clarification was it might require a higher vote total if you're trying to get the second thing tonight, whereas the first thing would not require. And so,
but the second thing, my understanding in the motion was that we are going to be revisiting the ordinance April the 28th to make a decision of whether or not to start the process of getting out of the totality of the program, or revisiting the ordinance. And it might be a debate up here where it's modifying some things that Mr. Davis mentioned, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is it the beacons whenever or is it the program that's going on just when the beacons are on? But April 28th, this motion includes revisiting the ordinance on April 28th that I believe is already going to be on the agenda. But I just want to make sure this is the last time we're meeting until April 28th, and this board needs to do some homework preparing for that. So included in the motion, we need to start asking some questions, talking to the community, asking staff questions on whether or not, when we revisit this ordinance on April 28th, what our homework is.
Got it. Anyone wish to second that motion?
I'll second for discussion.
Right. So I have a motion made by Councilman Schmidt, seconded by Councilman Jeter. Additional discussion.
Yes, I mean, the more the judicial process, the information that we got tonight, let's find out, in my understanding, that the county and the city is both funding this. So we saw the Board of County Commissioners meeting the other day. The county attorney had an opinion. But as things are progressing, now there's a title search that's going on between the city and the county to decide the authority of whose road that is. I lean towards, if it's the authority of, the county's authority to permit that, let's not go back and forth with Big Brother, the county, and one of our strongest funding partners of whether or not we should pay back a little bit of money on that one said camera. The second part is also because of the judicial process, but more specifically because of staff resources time, I want to make sure that on April 28th, we are doing our homework and preparing for it, dismissing it, instead of putting the time in to pay our city attorney, as well as pay our time to go challenge we revisit that on April 28th, that ordinance, so hopefully we can start the discussions on how to get out of the program.
Gotcha. Councilman Jeter.
Going back to the road, the stoplight that was put in years ago, Mr. Payne, I forget how much it was, the stoplight on Hollywood, who paid for that? We did. So we paid for the stoplights on that, we paid for the upkeep and the paving on it, but we're still going to be waiting on a title search. When do we estimate the title search to come back between us and the county? Will we have that by April 28th?
You'll have it by April 28th, okay. But the separate issue is statutorily, even if the county owns that portion west of Rec Parkway, the city has statutory permitting authority for the cameras to be in place at least as of the date of that one resolution that was passed on March 24th. So.
Gotcha. And back to trying to land the plane tonight on what we're trying to accomplish. Does your motion include when that comes back, a refund is included, or we're just going to revisit all this? Your motion is pretty much revisit all this next meeting.
Right.
I want to make sure we're clear on that. We're not making any decisions tonight. We're just revisiting all this next meeting.
It.
So it's almost a postpone as a motion because we're going to wait
Yeah,
on title
because at some
search,
point,
and this is already on the agenda.
That's right. Because at some point, we'll keep having conversations and things like that and just trying to take some action.
Well, I'll support the motion if we're going to. This is just assuring it's going to be on the meeting 2 weeks from now. And this is just guaranteeing us that we're going to have the facts in front of us as to that specific camera. I don't support any refunds. I don't support speeding, which is why I'll probably continue to support the program. And we'll leave that at that. We don't have to hash it out anymore. Support the motion to go.
One point of clarification, I'm allowing the county attorney's office to order the report, and so I can't guarantee they'll get the report back in 2 weeks, but I think they would.
And I would just say if they don't, that would be a huge factor into maybe we kick that can to the next meeting because we're going to have all the facts in front of us to make a decision. But whether it's next meeting or 2 meetings from now, I think I do not support a refund. I also do not support speeding, which is why I'll continue to support the program. We'll let the who paid for roads and who owns it comes out in the end. And I really do. We debate a lot up here, and I don't want to elaborate. It's just sometimes you're just dead set on whether this is constitutional or this or that, and whether you want to take this side or that side. I really don't know which side's right or wrong. I hope this doesn't turn into a huge right or wrong. He say, she say, proved you wrong. I just speed. Let's stop with that.
All right, so the motion from Councilman Schmidt, for anyone that needs clarity here, is just basically, we're not going to take any action. We're just going to discuss this on the 28th. Correct?
That's it.
First, second, and now discussion, is that
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I think, yeah, thank you. And yes, I'm going to keep beating that horse, the constitutional horse, unconstitutional horse. It is the center of it, in my opinion. And Mr. Jeter, you had mentioned, and it kind of demonstrates the problem that I have with it, and I think the courts ultimately will, and some already have, is you said, don't speed, you won't get a ticket. That's not true. It's not true at all. Someone driving a car registered to you can speed, and you'll get a ticket. So you'd have to modify that statement to say, don't allow anyone driving one of your vehicles to speed, you won't get a ticket. And that's the crux of the constitutionality of it. I know members of the community who have company cars that their employees drive and or contractors drive. They've gotten a ticket. The owner of the vehicle has gotten a ticket. So it's not true that if you don't speed, you won't get a ticket. You can. You absolutely can, and they've been issued a bunch.
And maybe that person needs to be fired, and you don't even let that person drive your car again.
Well, and I hear you there, and that would definitely be.
That's why we fundamentally always disagree.
But if it's a child, your child driving your car, and again...
I would love a camera to send me a speeding ticket of my child driving her new car, because I would take her keys from her for 2 weeks.
Sure, but
that's just how my mom raised me, so...
But as I mentioned I believe it was the second reading at the conclusion, and I turned to Mr. Burns and I asked him, our founding legal principle is innocent until proven guilty. And this case, as small as it may be here, right here in the little town of Fort Walton Beach, it's actually a huge matter because it turns that legal principle on its head. And that's just the first creep. I asked the chief that day, I said, and the chief had mentioned that it's legal, and I agree that it is legal because the legislature passed a law, but as we all can know, laws are constitutional, and the laws are passed until they're ruled unconstitutional. And I asked the chief, half jokingly but not really, if the legislature passes a law that says my car was at the scene of a bank robbery and the tag was pictured, that they could arrest me. That's how threatening this principle is. If the legislature can pass a law that says my car was seen at a bank and therefore they can come arrest me, I hope we can all agree up here that that's unconstitutional. and that it's a threat to our constitutional rights. So obviously, I don't mind supporting this motion because this motion is just moving it on to the 28th. And I do have some questions at an email to you and I believe to the chief, and I'm copying Ms. Burns. I'd asked for some updated information. I did pull the September annual report on it, so I do have some questions that I'll save till the end of my time regarding cases brought and dismissed.
If you need the chief, can we do it now because he's got to go to Ocala?
Yeah, sure. I don't mind just real quick, and it might be something that Jeff can respond on. But my questions will come from the September 23rd, 25 Speed Enforcement Annual Report.
Yes.
That came from you. Spent some time looking over it. From May 8th through the end of the regular school year, you list out some statistics there.
Section 2.8.
So I want some, just so I understand, 2.85, yes, 2.8, and then I just went to, 2.81, 3292 notices of violations, and then 1647 administrative dismissals. How do those come about?
So they can be for various reasons. That was the first month of our program.
Right.
So as the mayor talked, and we didn't publicly advertise this, we can write the notice of violation at 11 miles over. We wanted to get the word out, and that was at the end of our warning period. So we were dismissing the ones that were at 12 and 13 miles. So the ones that were barely over the threshold, we dismissed some of those. There were some people that came in, and once again, this was the first month of the program. So during that first month of the program, if they would have came in and they said, I got 3 violations, we know that it takes time for a letter to get sent in the mail, and they probably would not have been aware that they'd done something wrong. So we would probably dismiss 2 of the 3 during that first month. Once word got out there, the program became more established, and everybody knew the cameras were there, we were not as lenient with the dismissals. If you got 2 violations, you had 2 violations. If you're 11 miles over, you got a violation. But we were much more flexible in that first month of the program. In addition, when the vendor packages the violation for us, there is still a local officer that reviews each violation and determines that there's probable cause for the violation. If the officer saw possibly a second vehicle passing by, and there could be some doubt of whether the radar unit picked up the first vehicle or the second vehicle, the officer has the discretion to dismiss that violation. If there is a discrepancy in possibly the tag number, if the officer thinks that it's an 8 and not a B in the tag, then the officer is going to dismiss that. We dismiss a bunch of violations if we believe at the officer level, at the local department, that there is insufficient cause to issue that violation.
Great.
And that's what that number represents.
Great, thank you. And then so, again, from my education and education of the public, I see that there are 2.85. There were 2 requests for hearings and 2 were upheld. Those requests for hearings went before our magistrate.
Correct.
Okay, great. And then we had 494 have gone to UTC. That's before the county judge, is that correct?
So UTCs were issued.
Have gone
That doesn't say
gotcha.
whether they went to the county judge, whether
Gotcha.
they paid them, they didn't pay them. That number just represents the number of UTCs that were issued during that time period.
Great, and then we can talk about a little bit after the summer school portion, but just, I know that, Mr. Davis, you had the stats. There were 2 cases that challenged the constitutionality of it. Those, I'm assuming Mr. Burns gets notice of those. It was a lawsuit filed against the city, and...
Well, actually, no, the city does not get notice of these. I think the last one, Chief Page said, I think a police chief of another city called him and said, hey, y'all be hearing next week.
I got you.
So they're trying to work that issue out with the clerk of court right now. So I don't get any notice at all.
So how did it, that's what I'm trying to figure out. How did Jason sign off on a dismissal? And it was you and Jason, Mr. Burns and Jason signed off on 2 dismissals for the 2 cases that challenged the constitutionality of it. That would be the latest one, I believe you were talking.
I didn't sign off on anything. I was asked by my client to dismiss the cases, Mr. Walker. I don't have any authority to do any of that.
Your signature wasn't on the approval of the dismissal?
No, I filed a notice of filing dismissal.
Okay.
And the dismissal was a form that the police department filed with clerk of court. And I then attached that to a notice of filing because they did not believe that item would be in front of the judge prior to the hearing, because it usually takes about a week when they file it on their own to get it for the judge to dismiss the case. So I have no authority to dismiss any case.
No, and Jason made that clear when we spoke, that it's him that dismisses them. I mean, is that accurate? He dismisses?
Mr. Mayor, not to call a point of order, but do we have a motion and a second on the floor?
And now discussion?
Yeah.
Is this where?
About the motion.
About the motion, can we go to a vote?
Mr. Davis asked him to ask the questions now instead of the council comments because Mr. Page is about to go to Ocala. So this was going to be during the council comments, and Jason said go ahead and do it now.
So can we finish the motion and
All
second?
right, so finish your questions, I suppose, directly to Chief Page, and let's wrap it up.
Great, thank you. So that, you mentioned those two cases, Mr. Goodwin's dad and then Mr. Aiden, those two cases. Mr. Burns just mentioned that he had heard, the chief heard from another police chief somewhere that there was a case against us. Is that how you got?
I believe that was the Clint Hayden case.
That was the Clint
It's
Hayden.
one and the same.
Do we remember how Mr. Goodwin's dad's case was dismissed? Is that familiar to you?
That one, I believe we got notice from to the city.
To the city from the clerk's office, the county office? How do we find out how? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how did that make it to the point of getting, because I'm obviously wanting to see them get challenged, so I'm like, what is it going to take to get one to the point of being challenged constitutionally? So do we know how Mr. Goodwin's dad's case was dismissed without the defendant requesting dismissal? Do we know?
There was a motion to dismiss filed in that case.
Same as in Mr. Aiden's case?
I guess I haven't read the motion in Mr. Aiden's case.
Okay. Going to your report, back to your report. You mentioned summer school took a break, and then during that summer school break, there were 327 notices of violation, 27 administrative dismissals. You've clarified how that works. There were 8 requests for local hearing came before the magistrate, 8 were upheld, 70 have gone to uniform traffic citation. Do we have any ability or knowledge to know out of those 494 or those 70, well, I guess we would know, have any of the 564 cases that went UTC, has the city dismissed any of those cases? Or have 2 cases at UTC at the county level? Are those the only 2 that have been dismissed?
Those are the only 2 I got called.
Okay. And it just establishes the only 2 that have been dismissed are the ones that challenged the constitutionality of it.
So I'm not trying to argue with you, but when the calls came in, there was no mention of we're trying to circumvent the constitutionality of it. The crux of the discussion was, I was trying to leave names out, and since you've thrown it out there.
Sure.
Mr. Goodwin's daddy got a ticket. He wasn't driving. It was Mr. Goodwin's brother, supposedly, right? Mr. Goodwin's an attorney, and he was prepared to fight this for 500 hours if necessary.
Sure.
Mathematically, we have a 3% cap. I'm trying to be responsible with taxpayer dollars, so I'll the pool win.
Sure.
Call came in for the Mr. Aiden. Again, no idea who that person is. Same concept. There was no mention of fighting the Constitution or a cabal to keep this from the public.
Sure.
It was a 2-minute conversation.
And thank you. And I think this will probably be the last one. Mr. Burns, you had, and it comes from my conversation with Mr. Davis, you had mentioned in an email to me regarding the lawsuit on the ballot language, and I had questions about the expenses and how that works. And you had said that you had written me that no case shall be dismissed, negotiated, or settled without the consent or the presentation to the insurance trust. because Mr. Davis had mentioned a $14,000 monetary concern of what it would take for him to defend against it.
Potentially, right?
I'm sorry?
A hypothetical.
Hypothetical, whatever the number was. Sure. I mean, we wouldn't spend $10,000 for $100 or $15,000. I get it, that makes sense. But then I have that question about the insurance trust, because I'm learning what it takes to get representation, and that was a lawsuit, is my understanding, against the city filed by Mr. Goodwin on behalf of Mr. Aiden, right?
No.
It's not a lawsuit?
No.
They were not suing?
That's the city's the plaintiff in those cases, because it's a uniform traffic citation issued by the city.
Okay. So there was no call to the insurance trust about covering...
How would I know that, answer your question? I don't make any calls to the insurance trust.
Well, then... So you're right, and so that's what I was trying to distinguish, is what prompts a call to the insurance trust for the coverage cost of a defense, a legal defense, which he would have been legally defending, I'm assuming, but no call was made to the insurance trust on...
No, again, trying to be fiscally responsible. I don't want our insurance rates to keep going up because we're going over a $39 potential gain to the city on a speeding ticket.
Sure. But we had to turn to him in the lawsuit by the
I can clarify, there's no insurance policy that would cover the city's plaintiff's expenses. They only cover defense expenses, and there's, again, no defense expenses in this case on behalf of the city.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You're done with Chiefs?
Thank you very much.
On the road?
I'm sorry?
You're done with the Chiefs?
I am for, yeah.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Right, so back to the original motion, which was to not take any action and move this discussion to the 28th meeting. Everyone, I think, has had an opportunity to speak at length.
We're taking action. We're taking action. Yeah. Just want to be clear for Ms. Barnes.
Well, I mean, I thought we were not. You said don't.
Our action is we are waiting until the title search process comes back before we make a decision. That's action. Instead of
okay. Well, I didn't say it. I would like to offend you. I
no, it wasn't offensive. I just want to make sure the board is taking action.
I didn't mean it like that at all. I just meant the board is waiting until the 28th.
That's it.
Okay. So that's the motion. Council, please vote. And the motion does pass unanimously. That moves us to item 11.3.
So, just for clarification for me, I'm not going to respond to that county letter until after our next meeting because we're waiting on title work.
Correct.
Outstanding. Again, sometimes you got to put it in crayon for me.
All right, item 11.3, Mr. Davis.
Okay, so at some point in time, within the last couple of months, I was asked to negotiate purchasing the reverter clause from the Elsa Jackson Trust. Mr. Burns and I met with them, and there's an agreed upon number. There is, that was 370 million, does that sound right?
Yeah, 3.87.
3.87, sorry. Dyslexia. Anyway, so we have a path to do that now. They've agreed to that. The path to get there is either use reserve funds, or that's, speaking with Warren Avert, our third party. Warren Avert?
Warren Avert, yeah, and it would be, we'd have to bring back the fund balance policy to reduce our reserve funds to pay for it if we did it that way.
So use the reserve funds, or they came back the other day with a secondary recommendation to use a cemetery.
The old cemetery perpetual fund.
Perpetual fund. So we have two paths to get there, right? Just my personal thoughts on it. One, it's never going to be less money, it's always going to go up, right? So if we're going to do it, there is some inherent risk, but now's the time. Two, if we're ever going to have control of this property to do it as we see fit, that's the path to get there. We cannot get a bond to build a new city hall. We cannot get a bank loan to build a new city hall with the reverter clause in place. So that's kind of where we're at. That's all I got.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Just to confirm the agenda package, so that funding would come from that committed Bill Memorial Cemetery Fund, is that correct?
Yes.
And in that, I believe if I read the audit annual report correctly, we have 5.1, I believe, in that fund balance. So
A little under 5.2, yeah.
a little over 5.2. So I'm also using crowns. So 5.1 minus 3.8 roughly puts us,
Just over.
is that, this is the question, is that a pretty strong balance for the projects we may or may not have in the Bill Memorial Cemetery program?
Yeah, and what that fund is billed for is for, obviously, well, it says perpetual care. Each year, we spend $100,000 probably in that fund. If we were to do this, I would get with Mr. Burns to just make sure the legality of it. We're looking at the accounting side of it, just to make sure the legality part is okay. And then Jason and I would have to sit down and find back, because basically they'd be loaning the general fund the money to pay for it. So I would have to put some kind of plan to start paying it back in this next budget year. So that's one thing that we'd have to feel out and kind of see.
What I'll do with that is anytime any kind of debt comes off, whatever we're paying that, I would put towards that sort of thing, right? That's just kind of the strategy I would use for something like that. But we would also, going that route, we would have no interest on a loan, for example. So, good question though.
Thank you.
Ms. DeBerry.
I have a question. Several people have contacted me, and they are saying, explain the reverter clause that we're expected to pay $3.some million for. So they're listening.
Sure. So way back when, I don't know, long before I assume any of us were here, the Liza Jackson family deeded the property to public use, right? So City Hall, auditorium, whatever. Should we ever not use that, we have to give it back in some capacity.
It reverts, so the reverter clause says it would have to be used for public parks, recreation, a city hall, civic center, auditorium, and library building, or any and all of these. And it also has some stuff about needing a plaque in a certain spot. But if it was not used for one of those purposes, then it goes back to the Liza Jackson Land Company, I guess is technically what they're called. And so for the city to ever be able to get actually funding to be able to build a new city hall here, what has to happen is a bank will only loan the city money if that encumbrance is removed, because if the bank decided they need to foreclose on the city's property, if the city went to default, then that could also trigger a reverter clause potentially, because the bank would maybe want to take the title of that property and convert to private uses at that point. And so the bank would require this reverter clause to be removed. So this will give the city freedom if you get rid of it.
I think the county recently experienced something like this on a different property that they had. Is that
It was 2011, but it was the Meg's Trust up in where their current county building is, where all the offices are for Shalimar. That used to be the courthouse, you know, that they had to buy that reverter clause.
I remember that, yeah. Well, I remember reading what you just said in the paperwork that was sent, but I'm trying to explain it to them, but they needed to hear it themselves. Sure. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else with a question on this item? Mr. Walker?
Yes. Jason, you made a statement, whatever we want to do with it. And Mr. Burns, you made a statement that banks won't loan on it, and you mentioned deed restrictions. I don't know when that became applicable, because I'm assuming that either one, we have plans for it other than the deed restrictions. We can use it as a city hall and all those things. So whatever we want to do with it, is it outside, as far as you know, outside of any of those things described in the deed?
Sky's the limit, you tell me.
Right. So as a county, I mean, as a city, I'm hearing that we can't get a bank loan. Mr. Burns, you've got a legal opinion there about it. I did speak with an attorney that handled the county up there, and I don't remember all of the details of it, but that attorney said that banks will loan so long as it's for the intended use, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not an attorney and you are, and I appreciate your advice on it, but it just seems like
That's been my experience as well down south. Anything that had a reverter clause, I could not get up.
If you want to build a hotel on it, sure, but if you're wanting to build a city hall that is a part of the reverter clause, I mean, did we finance this building when we put it on here?
I have no idea.
Have lending terms changed because we borrowed money to put City Hall on here long after that 1944, 47, wherever it was, that first deed on here. And of course, it doesn't restrict parking. It just says the things we can use it for. We're not using it for parking. So I've always been one who believed that a negotiation between us and the trust would allow us to either block off the parking that's causing them a problem, but then it came down to banks won't lend. Banks won't lend on a property that has a reverter clause that even restricts it to the intended uses of City Hall and the auditorium. So I just didn't know if anyone is aware of Mr. Burns, do you know when that might have changed in the lending world?
I know that Mr. Councilmember John Meeks is the one who started this idea about a year and a half ago, and he was heavily involved in the reverter clause purchase from the county, or that the county had to do back in 2011 timeframe.
Thank you. And speaking of Mr. Mead, I did speak with him as well, and I've spoken with others in the community. The reference to the county property up there, it was my understanding, not seeing the paperwork on it, but the appraised value and then the negotiated price was, quote, pennies on the dollar. So we've got before us, we have apparently an appraisal that says it's worth $3.87 million, and it sounds as though staff is recommending full purchase price based on the appraised value. Is that correct?
Yes, so again, Mr. Burns and I sat down with the trust. I started lower and they quickly shut me down because the highest and best use is a little bit more than that, right? So I can know what that number was, but they're using our appraisal. And in my experience, I've always got two appraisals, right? If they go get their appraisal, it's going to be more than that. So I would still lose because I'd probably have to meet them in the middle. So we're using our appraisal, and they were amenable to that.
I'm very familiar with appraisals, and the purchaser of the appraisal doesn't establish the value. So to suggest that the trust, their appraisal would be greater is not something I experience in my real estate experience. It is the opinion of an appraiser, and that's that. Yeah, and then, obviously negotiating with the trust, if they, quote, know or we believe that we can't get a loan on this because of the reverter clause, really puts them in a strong negotiating point. So I hate to see that, and that we're looking at paying full appraisal value for it, but I've been the lone dissenter on this from the start, and I think I probably will remain that way. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else with a question on this item? Anyone else, or anyone rather from the public wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, council, do you wish to make a motion tonight?
Mayor, so move staff's recommendation.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Schmidt, seconded by Councilman Jeter to accept staff's recommendation.
Do we need a clarification on the path, whether we're using cemetery or reserve funds? I'd like to start.
I thought that was answered earlier on.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I thought I asked that earlier on, we're using the Bill Cemetery.
I would prefer that, but does it need to be in that motion?
Okay.
So the staff's recommended motion actually says y'all are going to get with me, because I do need to research whether or not that's legal to actually use that cemetery money or not. And so I have not opined on that yet, but that it would be a step.
Assuming that it's legal, this motion includes pulling it from the Bill Memorial Cemetery Fund that has $5.1 million in it.
Second.
Okay, clarified motion from Councilman Schmidt, seconded by Councilman Jeter, verified by Mr. Burns, accepted by Mr. Davis. Any additional comments?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Council, please vote. And it does pass 6-1, which moves us to their final item of the night, item 11.4, and the award of ITB 26-002. Mr. Payne here to tell us all about it.
Daniel Payne, Public Works Utility Services Director. Fire Station 7 is located at 1968 Lewis Turner Boulevard over there next to the fairgrounds and the technical school over there for Okaloosa County. I'm sure all of you are aware. The existing roof that we've had, we got some calls on there after noticing, I think, some squirrels at first, but then after evaluation, there's significant amount of water intrusion that had penetrated some of that roof that's there. It's a fairly big building. It's about 6,200 square feet. It's a mixture between metal and TPO and Mansford style roof. So we did not have this budgeted, but it is a pretty dire condition that we've gone through with this one. We knew dollar amount wise it was going to be tripping anything that we could do that was going to go to you guys for approval. On February 3rd, we purchasing Nicole's group helped us with a bid for a roof replacement. We had a mandatory pre-bid, which is typical for a lot of the stuff that we've been doing, especially here lately. Had everybody in the room, talked about some of the scope, some of the room, had a site visit and everything else. On March 5th, 3 companies submitted their proposals. The lowest responsible bidder was Belmac Roofing out of Santa Rosa Beach for the amount of $227,000 and $227,082.60. The proposed project, like I said, we don't carry in the budget. Our facilities budget repairs a lot of things, but taking one load, almost $250,000 is it's a heavy load. We just didn't have it. So financial wise, we got with Nicole's group. I think, she found a way. Listening to what we do, it's really not in our opinion, a want as it is a need on that end. It's past its serviceable life. So the recommendation that we have is to recommend City Council authorization to award invitation to bid 26-02 Fire Station 7 replacement to the lowest responsive bidder, Belmac Roofing of Santa Rosa Beach, in the amount of $227,000 and $227,082.60, and to authorize the city manager to approve all project change orders up to 10%.
You all right, Mr.
It's
Payne?
late, man. My brain's mush. But I'm here to answer any questions that you have on that end related to this.
Thank you, sir.
Imagine trying to capture emotion after all of that.
Swimming.
Anyone else, or rather anyone with a question here for Mr. Payne? Anyone want to hear him say that number one more time? You don't have to. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this new roof for Fire Station 7? Council, you wish to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor, so staff's recommendation to award of ITB 26-002 construction replacement roof in Mansfield Fire.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Merrill, seconded by Councilwoman DeBerry to award the total cost of the project at $227,082. Wait, no, I shouldn't have started. Well done. All right, any additional comments? Council, please vote. It's hard for me too, Mr. Payne. Does pass unanimously. Brings us to city manager reports.
We haven't had a meeting in a while, so stay with me. There's a lot today. First one, Marcus Montgomery in the police department. Just want to golf clap him. He was awarded the Hero Grade from Central Square for answering the call. Kind of neat, so we'll post something out on that. Samantha in HR just took a super cool promotion to supervisor, so good for her. Also need to golf clap one of our council ladies for being recognized as the elected official of the year for child advocacy.
National Association of Social Workers.
But yes, golf clap for you. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Gotta give a golf clap for Mr. Derek Mattingly. The PD carport took an absolute beating in that storm that we had came through, completely demolished it. He hustled them and we've got it replaced for free. So nicely done there.
like that.
There will be a baseball survey the Parks and Rec team will be putting out to see if we want to revisit Little League or Cal Ripken or any of those flavors. So if you are in that realm, please stop by and make your voice known. Ocean Hour did a nice cleanup over the last couple weekends. That's what I meant to bring up last time and I forgot. But they're also coordinating with us on a June 6th cleanup that will include the water, the sound side, and the street side. So there'll be some cool stuff going there. Cemetery, Kiwanis and the Garden Club both did a flower project right at the entrance there today. It looks really nice, so if you want to cruise through there, the real nice flower bed they've installed. Book machine at the golf course, ribbon cutting tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock if you'd like to see our cool new vending machine. Need to point out Major Ross, Officer Williams, I'm gonna butcher this dude's name, Officer DeBerrieri. They did a great job handling, helping out a dude having a bad day. Got him with some family. So a homeless guy or less than housed, I don't know what the term is, but they did a great job handling that. So that was super cool. I hate putting this out in the ether, but it's the concrete's drying. The landing, grand opening, ribbon cutting, next Friday the 24th at 5 p.m. Musical Echoes will take the stage in the morning at 10, but we can't do the physical ribbon cutting that early because they'll be doing the finishing touches on the park. But the fence will be coming down late Thursday, so the landing will be a real thing starting Friday. So
that's April 17th?
24, is that something right?
It's 24.
Yeah. So next Friday, 5 o'clock. Super cool there. And then the last thing I need to bring up, not really for public comment, but the Ashley Lane project just progressed to the point now where the city needs to pay the $25,000 or so up front, and then that will be put back on those particular special assessment. 32 homeowners. The county has offered up labor and equipment, not materials, labor and equipment. So they're going to partner with us to do that. But those 32 residents will end up paying for it on the back end. We just have to front the design and the engineering part of it. So I need some input to make sure we're still going forward with that. I told you I'd bring it back when I got there. So here we are. Thoughts, comments, questions?
Council didn't vote on that before, or no?
We voted to move forward with getting the engineering quote and bring it back before council to make sure we're still on the same page.
And I think you had estimated it to be much higher cost.
Oh, this is just the design, the $26,000. Okay. It still has to go out for engineering. Gotcha. That'll be substantially more.
Okay.
So let me look at the charter provision real quick. I think that another vote might be required just here in a second. Yep. So let me just read that.
Did I butcher that, Daniel? Is that ballpark?
No, I think Jason, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Walker.
So on that, 26,000 is the initial, and that'll go back over to those 32. Let's say it stops after this. The engineering comes up, and it turns out that the next step and the next step. At some point, the homeowners get together as they can do and say, we're not doing this, right? Has there been a vote by them to pass it upon all the homeowners that they will move forward regardless of costs?
They have no choice now.
Okay.
They had to get I'm drawing a blank. Signatures.
Okay. Petition. The charter requires, they got the petition done.
Yeah, so they needed more than 50%. They had substantially over that, right?
Gotcha.
So now they understand it's coming whether they like it or not, assuming you guys can move forward. Because now there's money involved.
Right, that's what I was looking, we're going to get billed 26,000 or maybe half with the county or whatever else. Is 26 for us?
We're paying the whole 26. We're going to pay the whole back end as well. But that whole number goes back on their trim notice.
And that trim notice, do we know the repayment period?
No.
It's not 1 year.
No, it'll be several years. I haven't got that from you.
It'll be several years, is
Yes.
that what you said? Gotcha. Gotcha.
But that'll be all inclusive.
We're basically loaning them money that they'll pay us back from their
It's one
trim
way to look at
notice.
it,
Yeah,
So there's several different flavors. They could have done a CDD, but that would have been back when they designed the property. It's
right.
same concept.
Are the roads being turned over now to?
No.
No, they're not being turned over.
Nope, so unfortunately.
They're gonna remain private.
Correct.
We're paving private property.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and unfortunately, if you've been in there, I'm gonna just.
Oh, it's horrible.
A giant horseshoe.
Yeah, it's horrible.
The first 180 feet or so is actually lane.
You're gonna lose animals in there.
It's rough, right? Yeah, no, the potholes are as big as the beds here. But unfortunately, as you make the turn there, that's another section of ownership, and then I want to say there's 4 sections of ownership. So we may end up doing this exercise 4 times.
Sure.
But, and then we'll probably do this every 20 years or so. Same concept, same approach.
There's no additional vote required by the council, but I don't remember what their first vote was. Did they indicate they wanted you to bring it back?
Bring it back, yes.
So they should do another vote. That was their original vote.
So we want to do a motion right now and have a vote on it?
And since it's on the agenda, y'all need to pass by a supermajority.
All right. Do we have someone brave enough to make a motion to see if we can pass it with a supermajority?
I'd like to make a motion to put it on the next agenda item. I mean, I think we got a lot of good information, but.
So put it on the 20th?
Yeah, let's get the information in front of us and look at the facts and the different things. I feel like we're kind of.
Second.
Rushing to get information.
Motion made by Councilman Schmidt, seconded by.
What information did you
Councilman Walker.
I mean, information to do this project.
So it's 26,000.
Like every other agenda item we have, there's an agenda packet. Yeah, I mean, I supported it last time I brought it up. It's just, I think we recently made a resolution, like, we could probably do it with supermajority tonight, but any item that has to do with paving and those kind of things, let's just put it on the agenda and look at it.
I don't know that we would have all of the data with the engineering fees and all that until many months from now. Once we pay the 26,000, then you kick into that, so I don't know. How long do you think that would take, Dan?
We don't have information, or we do?
What part? So if we move forward, we pay the 26,000 for this design, and then it goes out for engineering, how quick can that be turned around? That's not gonna happen in a month.
I have to look back at the proposal. I think it's listed on that schedule. I'm not sure.
I mean, essentially, whatever information we discuss right now, I think it's a project that's worth putting on the agenda to discuss paving. I'm conceptually supporting it, and it'll probably pass unanimously. I just don't think with the precedence that we made with this most recent resolution and paving, let's just put it, whatever information we do have on the agenda to get it approved and move on, is my motion.
All right. Anyone else wish to speak on the motion? Councilman Walker.
Right, and I like that too, and I'm sorry if it creates delay on it or whatever, but, and maybe I missed it. I mean, I'm familiar with that property over there. I remember when she came up here and spoke, and I think she had emailed us all, and so I don't remember the interim space where, was it something emailed to us, or did we have an agenda topic up here where we...
The weekly thing I sent you, it's in one of the weekly reports.
Okay, got you. So it was in one of the weekly things. I'll try to read those. Thank you for those. They're always great and helpful, but somehow I missed that one in there. But I do like the idea of bringing it back. Little surprised, I guess I could say, that we don't know the terms of the repayment. It would seem to me that we would know the terms of the repayment prior to both parties committing to each other, because they're committing to us and we're committing to them, and then still that question that I did ask about the private, because I know that was not turned over to the county or the city upon development. And so if I'm them and we're about to pave it to standards, I'm assuming we're paving it to county or state standards, right? We're not going in there like a private homeowner and just skimming over it, right?
Daniel Payne's.
No.
Okay, Mr. Payne, yeah.
And this is why we can put it on the agenda, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's just discuss this in the agenda item.
I'm good with that.
I mean, I'm going to give Danny some time to do his homework. I feel like we're just throwing a lot of questions at Public Works and things like that that he may or may not be prepared for.
Anyone else wish to speak on the motion? Council, please vote.
Historic first supermajority option.
We wouldn't even need it.
Dum, dum, dum.
Just request it. 7-0. Anything else, Mr. Davis, on city manager reports?
Enough for one night, thank you.
City Attorney reports, Mr. Burns.
Yes, Mayor. Mayor and council, I need to announce for the record that on the day of the next regular council meeting, the council will convene an executive session pursuant to section 286.011, subsection 8.4 of statutes to discuss pending litigation. The litigation is styled FWB Watch Group versus City of Fort Walton Beach, Florida, case number 2026 CA 000115. The meeting will occur on April 28th at 5 p.m. with the public portion commencing and ending in these chambers and the closed portion of the meeting occurring outside these chambers in a separate conference room at City Hall. The meeting will be attended by the City Council, City Attorney, City Manager, Litigation Counsel for the City, and will be reported by a certified court reporter as required by law. The meeting will be for the purpose of discussing settlement discussions as authorized by statute.
Spoken like a true lawyer. Anything else?
That's it, Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
One thing I forgot, sorry.
Yes.
The 21st, next week, we have the presentation regarding districting or hybrid, or call it what you will.
And I guess Jason will work on that. So I'll be providing the, I guess, model ordinance I was directed to draft tomorrow to the staff. But I know the NAACP had asked, actually the council originally asked for options between 3 and 4 districts, but then they came back and asked for a 5 district option from NAACP. I'm only going to provide one option, 4 option, because honestly the ordinance, you can just plug the number 3, 4, 5 on what I'm going to end up drafting into it. And so I'll just leave 4 in there, and then if y'all decide to go with 3 or 5, I can make that change in about 5 minutes.
Sounds good. Also, just a quick note, because you brought that up, Councilman Schmidt, will you be here on the 21st? Are you available for that? I'm only asking because I will not be here. I will not be in town on the 21st. I'm sure we can work that out afterwards, but
Yeah,
figured I'd bring it up.
I'll be here, but if we need to work it around, I'd like for you to be here.
I will not be here. I know we've scheduled this meeting, so nothing I can do about it now. All right, so final council comments. We have Councilman Schmidt, you start.
Yeah, I just want to continue to highlight for our community and those that are still watching, those that are here, continue to call 850-833-9546. I know we have tons of ordinances on the book, more specifically things that we want to improve the environment, the public safety, the vagrancy, things going on in our park. You know, you see a lot of public comments on the World Wide Web that gets nothing done. Please call dispatch. They have a very professional posture as far as going and at least evaluating and what kind of action they can take. And they're not going to do anything if you just post something on Facebook without calling. So please call 833-9546. I know it starts to become mundane, but I also just want to highlight, Jason, your efforts with that monthly CRA Citizens Input meeting that's tomorrow, I believe. Yeah. You know, I know it's probably not well attended, you know, but it's accessible and you're consistently there. Never worked with the more transparent, accessible CEO between your weekly status reports and the communication that you have with the grassroots, just on the streets. So thank you for that. Don't ever want to lose out on those things that are happening regularly and how special those are. So thank you for all that you do to be accessible for that. So that's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Walker.
Thank you. Yes, as often, thank you, Jason, for those very helpful emails. They just really capture it all and keep us up to date. I'm sorry I missed that one, the discussion there on Ashley, but I'll go back and look for it somewhere. I'll find it. So thank you for that. Also wanted to follow up on the resident email. I forget his name right now. It won't come to me. You'll know it, I'm sure. But because you did mention it in your last email there where you put it all together for us. But the constituent was complaining about the traffic on, it's not Magnolia, but which street is it on there?
It's Magnolia.
Is it Magnolia?
Yeah, the traffic backing up, yes.
So backing up there, and I watched it. I reached out to him. I chatted with him, and I was just making sure there wasn't any misunderstanding, because what I saw him write, I'm like, man, that sounds great. And Mr. Payne, thank you for your comments there. It helped. But is there an option, as he described on FL5.511.com, that the city can go in and do those things as he's described there? Is that something we're familiar with? Yes or no? Or
How did you do that, Daniel?
Ours is bad. Yeah, stuff.
How much was it? Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
To be honest,
Okay.
I thought we exhausted everything we could on that. What we've done before is basically schedule construction work, right?
Through 511.com?
No.
Okay.
Through Apple and Google. But they're public roads too, so we're limited on what we can.
He referenced, not mentioned his name, but he referenced, he works for a road construction. Him and the company he works for bid on our bridge. And so, he seemed to be all about the FL 511. Y'all can go in there and click, click, no left turn, no right turn, no through, something. So he seemed to be knowledgeable on it. And I said, hey man, write back to him and make sure you reference that, because I didn't know if it was something you knew about or not, but could you look into that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, because if we can stop as I told him though, it's Magnolia, it's Elm, it's Anastasia, it's down to, I'm there, I live in it, I see it, they come by me when it gets backed up.
No, and again, definitely look into that. It's honestly first I've ever heard of it. We are meeting with Kimley Horn, getting their input. We are meeting with TPO next week, this week?
Friday.
I'm sorry?
Friday.
Yeah. So we're trying, right?
Sure, yeah, if we can turn off that under the bridge option for all those things, and he sounded like that is one of the keys. Apple and Google he mentioned, but he said this is state DOT stuff.
All that stuff's, it's going somewhere, so we have to weigh the impact as well on the back end, but we'll look into that 511.
Great, thank you. And then my last one would be following up on the demo, and once again I forgot the demo of the structure down there. Steamboat. I know last time we talked, we were looking for a number to come back. Did we get a proposed?
This month we'll have the bids in our hands to look at.
Thank you for that, and I still want to wrap my head around, because as that one, I believe she might be a constituent, I'm not sure, that wrote us, Miss Love, I believe is her name.
Sure, Love, yep.
Just wrote us just late this week, or just yesterday, I'm not sure.
She made a very nice graphic.
Did she? I didn't see the graphic, but I liked, I was like, cool, Love. But anyway, that spurred me to think again about, I know it's under contract, and it's, it seems to me, and help me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me we're acting as an intermediary to go clear a property for a buyer and a seller that they've made some purchase and sale price together. And we're interceding to go in and clear the property for them with taxpayers' money. Yes, it is the CRA money, but I'm just like, why are we doing that? They should work that out between themselves, the buyer and the seller, right?
No, it's an option, sure, but the agreement that we had was, we had no idea when there was going to be a buyer and a seller. Well, we knew there was a seller, but the issue for me was, one, property values obviously diving because of the way that building is currently sits. Two, I'd like to get done before hurricane season, because it is for me, a hazard with flying debris and all that jive. We have kids that go down there and goof around and do kid things, right?
Sure.
We have homeless that go down there, so we want to get it cleaned up with the CRA funds to bring a higher property value, that should bring in a buyer. And then
buyer's in place, right? Buyer's in place.
That's what I'm told. I don't know who the buyer is, but it was contingent upon the city clearing the property.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor, I believe too, just to support what you said, the CRA board tasked that as well. And I appreciate you sharing that information, but at that CRA meeting, I don't know if you were there or not there, so good questions and all that, but that discussion was happened, and then I think we revisited again, or we have a CRA meeting coming up as well. But just to kind of support what Mr. Davis is saying, it was the governing body decision to move forward with that. Whether you agree with it or not, I just want to give you where the action.
Well, no, I'm glad you brought it up, because I know you're the chair, right, of the CRA?
That's it. Yeah.
So, and I asked at the last meeting here, Mr. Burns, about any liens that are on the property, because again, let's say it's $250,000, and I think that might have been a spitball you threw out last time.
I think it's $150 for the clearing.
Okay,
plus or minus.
So $150, but we didn't put the CRA board on that vote didn't require any payment back upon sale, because we know that that minimum, $150,000 of taxpayers' money put on a private property to clear it adds value to the seller of the property, and therefore we should get it back. We can't relive the CRA. I wasn't there with you or anything else. I'm just saying, is there anything that we can do now to
A lot of
address that issue?
hypotheticals, because at the time that board took action, there was no contract.
Gotcha.
The seller had no contract with the buyer. It was a blighted piece of property that's attracting a lot of vagrancy, a lot of safetiness, and a lot of concerns of just those businesses have been reaching out saying, hey, this is a bad issue.
Right.
I have a little clarification. They actually, we actually had to go to court. Like they had me appear with them just as a witness to basically confirm that this was legitimate in front of the Judge Clark. And she okayed the entering of this agreement between the special master who was appointed by Judge Clark to marshal the property. And so after the contract was executed by the city and the special master, he actually then used it in the marketing materials as the city's agreed to demolish this building. And then, so that was an enticement for people to make offers on the property.
And then we got a contract. So it may have worked.
But we're not getting the money back, and that's neither here nor there at this point unless the body decides to do something about it. I mean,
It'll look better than what it is, and we're using CRA money to clean it up, which are statutorily obligated.
Only took me 7 months to get that done.
Sure. All right, I think that's it. Thank you.
You got it. Councilman Brown.
Yes, Mr. Davis, you brought up Little League. I remember when we were going over Little League, we were to set up a committee of sorts to go over how we were going to, if there was a possibility. I know that I believe they mentioned June or July, they choose their board for the following season. So we're 2 months out, 2-3 months out. Have we formed that committee at all?
No, this was, I'm trying to think here how we got to that point, but I need to circle back with Wendy and David on the next steps for that. The request came from a councilman to see if there's an interest to look at going that route again. I mean, some of the concerns I have is Little League's a little bit more expensive, and I got to fit her in with a cab, but if there's even an appetite from the general public to do it, was the request today.
Okay. Yeah, you just mentioned it, so I remember that. And also there's a really cool unveiling of the F-15E Strike Eagle on Eglin, I think Friday? Yeah, Friday. There's a couple of articles out about it, but definitely go by the museum and check it out. It's a really cool piece of equipment out there. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman DeBerry.
No, I've said my piece.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Jeter.
Back to Little League, it was I that brought it up. It was I that actually stated last year when they were here that it was just a little too fast and we didn't know concession stands and referees, and we wanted to go back and revisit it. So like Mr. Brown was just saying, Little League's getting ready to start, or Little League's already going, and we got travel ball at our rec center, and then we got a youth baseball league. So if the youth baseball league is not getting the attendance that it used to, I just wanted to go back and revisit it, because out of anybody, I was against it last time. But I think all of us up here are willing to say, hey, you know what, maybe it's better to do now than it was a year ago. And that's where the committee came in, just so you know. If attendance is down in Fort Walton, or up in Fort Walton, but everybody says, oh, we wish we could merge Little League in both places. Last year, I just wanted to get some feedback from our residents that actually play at our sports complex where they wanted to see the league go, and if we can get some information from them and provide some feedback, then I think we go back to what you're saying. Whereas last year they wanted to merge, but we had no representation on that board. So I think the timing of it, to sum that up for you, is over the next few months, if we could gain any type of feedback from the residents playing in our youth league, and if there's still an appetite there for it, then go back to the league and say, hey, can we come back to the table here and have someone on your board and discuss this in, level 2, not just kind of rush like it was last time. That's where it came from. I just wanted to go back and revisit. I never want to be a hard-headed leader that says, this is what we're doing forever. No, there's something better out there. Let's try to learn, just like a lot of us do. Let's just bring stuff back, bring data back next meeting and make sure we're not missing something. So it was I that brought it up, and we'll see what the data
Yeah, I was curious about the committee, just 'cause I don't know if that's where the feedback was coming from. So I didn't know if anything was, whatever
And I think
happened.
if everyone that plays in our league says, heck no, we like this short, sweet, 6-week league that only costs $30, we'll never want that, and we got a good program going, then we have both just like we have now. If that's now since changed, just like things change year to year, it was just to go back and revisit. That was all it was. And I had nothing until that, just want to clear there. That's all.
I got you. No worries. Councilman Merrill.
I wanted to take my turn to thank a couple of the department's people. I'd be remiss not to. As a citizen, we had a tree split and start to go down in our neighborhood. I'm in the cul-de-sac. My neighbors all put it upon me to call the city. But I called just the 833, and I said, hey, and they scheduled it. I think I did call Daniel and ask him what number. I said, I don't want to bother you with this. They came out, it was 4:45. They came out and they took care of the branch that was, it was not even a branch, the tree was splitting. They took care of that, and then they got back out the next day and cleared it up. But they made sure it wasn't a hazard. I worked through what was supposed to be a really difficult permit because the DOT has the road that we're on. And I knew that Mr. Davis at least had the contact. And then when we went through that permit, that helped through growth management. I've been pushing some permits, and no special treatment. I got rejected. They were like, but it was very clear, like, hey, add this additional information. We got it to them, and so just everything from the sanitation to the head office to growth management, working with an ordinance, working with the community. It has been, I'll say it one more time because I've said it in the past, kind of ran on small business and the ability to have that access, and it feels like it's just doing so great in all those departments, and I get that from other people. You guys have heard yourselves as people coming here just to specifically say thank you. So, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Riley.
What a great time for me to give a shout out to the citizens of the Fort Walton Beach. I feel so honored to have put a year in on this council, and I feel very honored to work with my, the body of the council and our mayor. So just to the citizens of Fort Walton Beach, thank you for allowing me and trusting in me to be able to try to carry out the works of the city. It's been an amazing year, and I'm looking forward to some more good things.
Thank you, ma'am.
Congratulations, Ben and Logan. We got a year in.
Congratulations on all of your 1-year anniversary. That's very cool. And we're adjourned.
I want to email